Welcome to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, guys. Prost.
Exciting pod today. Huh. I don't know if I really get. Go ahead, Charlie. Tell me what you're.
No, I know exactly what you're going to say. It's listed as a juicy IPA, Ninkasi, and I got to tell you, it's kind of more just a West Coasty.
Yeah,
100%.
Drinks at 5.9. No, yeah, there's no juice.
I get no juice. Let me get another little sippy here in a second.
Little sippy cup. 5.9 out of Eugene, Oregon, and they pour a good beer. But dude, this is straight West Coast. It's almost a dank. It's not juicy.
I would almost say it's like a dank too.
Exactly. And I enjoy an IPA like that, but this is just not what I was expecting in the slightest.
Same.
I guess it's juicy IPA, really, rather than not a hazy IPA. But
yeah, that's got to be the difference.
It was.
You get more.
It's an IPA,
hops,
right?
than
I feel like this is an IPA. I guess you can call it a juicy IPA, but not bad. But I guess it's bad when I go in having expectations and it falls way out the realm of what I thought I was going to get. So now I have to readjust my taste buds so that I do want to like this beer. I know I will, but I just have to prepare myself for a different, flavor profile.
I took two big slugs. It's not one that I will go and order. Probably it's too
directly hoppy.
Directly hoppy is a great way to put it. There is something on the back end, and I think that's where it's like a juicy IPA, not a hazy.
That's where it's trying.
You get something on the back end, but I don't really know what it is.
I was going to say, what do you think it is? Let's see if the can
I don't know. Don't you get that same thing on the back end?
It just says citrus and tropical fruit, which means whatever, pineapple, grapefruit, it could be fucking anything.
But you get something right on the back, just a little bit.
Sure, yeah. But really, without having to call it a juicy, it's just kind of a West Coast IPA.
Right. Yeah, the name's a bit misleading or deceptive, but it doesn't pack that hoppy punch, but you still get the hops. They're still pretty strong profile of hops in this beer.
It reminds me closer. Correct. It reminds me closer of a Pine Drops. You know what I'm saying? Do you remember from the Shoots? Remember that one? It's closer to that, where it almost has that floral or that earthy, which is fine. I very much enjoy IPAs like that. Now that I've had a second sip and I've adjusted to it, I like this beer, but I don't call it a juicy IPA, y'all. I don't know where we at that point. I'm sorry, Ninkasi, you make great beer. I've had several of your beers throughout the years. I don't want to throw in a shade. This is not a hate pod. This is a happy pod.
Yeah, happy pod. just not what we thought of the can. You boys didn't get anything new this week? I was a little sick this week, so I didn't really get anything
I took off. I took the whole week off pretty much, too.
I had a couple.
Nice.
Yesterday, I went out and on draft, they had the Biggest Little Blonde.
Okay.
Weed Dog, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that was my first time having that one.
Nice.
Because I haven't.
You don't lean towards the blonde traditionally anyway?
Not traditionally. I have found myself doing that more lately because I found some ones I like.
Also,
they're growing on me.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because you know what the best gift of being a beer fan is that eventually your flavor profiles kind of change, and there's beers for that. If you want to go light, you can go a little lighter. You want to go dark, you can go a little darker. You can lean or you can go back and forth. It doesn't matter. It's great because you don't have to stay to all I drink is IPAs or all I drink is stouts or all I drink is reds or whatever. Drink the spectrum or Prost. I fucking love beer.
And then the other one I tried is a new. Also, I don't draft is a new brewery that I haven't been to yet. That's popped up in town. Parlay 6.
Right. No, we've talked about that.
We've talked about it. I haven't been.
No.
I haven't had any of their beers.
And you finally did.
It was their red.
Ooh, yes, exactly. And
okay,
it was sold out at Bighorn when I went.
Oh, that.
Well, let him explain it.
It was very rich in flavor. As far as reds go, it is dark.
Oh, nice.
Damn it.
I'm so sad with dude. I was like, oh, I'll do the Parlay 6 red. He goes, oh man, I just poured the
just
last
tapped.
one.
Just tapped. Yeah, just tapped out. Just tapped out. That's the worst. Or when you watch somebody get the beer that you're gonna get, and then you watch it in the glass, and you're like, "Oh, there's the end of that keg. Guess who's getting a different beer?"
So sad.
Oh, it happens. It happens to the best of
And
us.
it sounds like I missed a really good beer too.
I'm sure.
I want to go down there and check them out.
I was going to say, it's the local brew. We're going to be able to find it. So, I mean, it shouldn't be too tricky to find. And Parlay 6, if they're anything like, the original revision crew, that then they'll get, like, a distribution deal. Like, and they'll get into the stores.
Seeing them around town.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. So, I mean...
I got this at Lee's. I saw them there, too.
I actually saw the Parlay 6 at Rayleigh's too.
There you go. Boom. I mean, they're already good.
Just the OG, just the IPA.
That's where you got to start, though. You got to move the units that you think you can move before you just cram like 7 different SKUs in there.
Well, and I think it's happening faster. I assume they already have their connections, so it's not taking long to get out.
Yeah,
their
they know the distributors from being. They're like, dude, we're Revision basically rebranded. We make good beer. We know it'll sell,
Right.
And they're like, and then they get it in stores, and they're like, oh shit, this stuff is selling, So yeah, good. Okay, well, we kind of got off of the Ninkasi, but also I do appreciate everything that Parlay I have had from them so far. I've had, I think, the one IPA, and that was it.
My wife really likes their IPA.
It was good. It was good.
Whoa.
Sorry, no shade pod.
Shots across the back.
No shade. No shots. I just wanted to be one, like the blunderbuss, like it just blows me backwards. It's just a big old cannonball coming your way. That's what I did.
So tomorrow is the culmination of a pretty damn good college football season. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I mean, outside of some real ridiculousness, it was pretty fun.
I think we can agree that we don't necessarily love the way the NIL and transfer portal's handled. The NIL and transfer portal has made college football more even across the board. Georgia doesn't have 5-star running backs 7-8 deep. Same with receivers, to where when a guy gets hurt, you just put another dude in that's just as good as the guy.
You're like, oh, check it out, another All-American.
Correct.
Like,
so the big teams are losing depth of those.
Sure.
Where before, when somebody did get hurt, yes, so the wealth is being spread.
Well, it's because kids want to play, and they know the way to do that is, sure, they can get a little pay anywhere, a lot of pay somewhere, but if,
Carson Beck signs $10 million to go play Miami, and
sure,
can you believe that you was like
$8 million? That's what I read. Yeah, but he believes he's going to get drafted and be able to make it, which I don't think is his best decision.
He's going to get drafted by like the Rams.
Dude,
the Rams. That's not a bad spot. I mean, definitely, you would think he would get drafted somewhere who's already got
it allows, but it just allows the kids to go to somewhere that will play them, right? Right. Like that's the whole thing. They don't have to sit anymore if they're good enough. Like you can still go to like McCord did in fucking Syracuse. He had a hell of a season this year.
But also same with Quinyon Mitchell. Going and playing for small schools.
Oh, dude, you got ball,
and you can play. You're not.
If you put good tape out there, then that's good tape.
You're not looked at like just having to go to the big dog schools to get drafted. You can go anywhere and get drafted at any point in time. You can see guys getting taken from any schools.
Dude, it is sometimes. It sounds like a reach where it's like, wait, like Northeastern Nunn University. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Like we'll talk about the number.
He's a converted D tackle that's playing wide receiver that just started playing football 3 weeks ago, but he's a hell of an athlete. And it's just like, wait, what?
That's like the number 2 corner in this year.
That's like the most extreme example I think I could make, but like
Sorry, yeah. So
lost. A little sidebar there.
So let's look at the game.
Okay, not much is going to change in our opinion, right? There haven't been any like injury updates or anything like that for like practice or whatever.
No, but let's go back to. So I think that obviously you got to shut down.
Does it have the line on there? What's the line at?
The line, I don't know.
Yeah, what's the line? Could you find that, Trev? Yeah, I would really like to know that because I bet you it's got to be Ohio State, probably like -6 or 7, which is crazy. 8. The disrespect, y'all. The disrespect.
You got the cornerbacks from Notre Dame are good.
Right.
The safeties are good. So your back end's good. So if you can try to stop or slow down the run for Ohio State and not have to bring anybody else up in the box, you're going to give yourself a better shot. If you let the Ohio State start run on you, this game's going to be over quick.
Sure.
Yeah, it's 8 points on William Hill, 8.5 on ESPN.
Hey, that's fucking tough, man.
And Notre Dame's going to need like a big time throw at some point, maybe a kick return.
They're going to need a game breaker in some way or another. That's how you win a game like that for sure.
I don't like either of these teams, but please give us a competitive game to watch.
Sure,
1,000%. That is
health and good play. All right, that's what you pull for when you don't have a pony in the race.
Because there's a lot of dudes also going to play in the pros on both those.
Absolutely,
teams, so.
yeah, no, health and good play. Like, and it sucks sometimes when you watch. It's hard to watch games when it's just injury after injury after injury, right? And you're like, holy shit, dude, this is the last game of the season, and we're watching 4 or 5 guys go down. Like, so, please be mindful.
And the way it's been talked about too, there's of course your first round picks coming out of Ohio State, but it sounds like Notre Dame has a lot of mid round guys that are going to.
Yeah, we'll get into them. I really like they've got a corner and a safety that I really like. They're my top 5 in position.
Well, like one of the points you made, Downey, a while ago was that the NIL has brought. It's done nothing but bring to Notre Dame. Once kids are there, they haven't really left, or they don't transfer out again.
Correct.
Right?
They well with that.
You built a program in years where other like blue bloods are not building.
Well, and it's also because Notre Dame's a grade school.
Sure.
You actually have to have like grades like that in Stanford.
Yeah.
It's not just a state school.
Sure. Not
You
the
can
private
get away
school.
with.
Does anybody think he's going to go anywhere else, or is he going to stay?
I think we talked about if you're the dude at Notre Dame. If you're the dude at Notre Dame, why leave?
The history, the amount of money you can get from
Correct.
everything.
And with the NIL and transfer portal, it's made them be able to compete. I feel like going forward with the SEC and other big time
Sure.
schools like they used to be.
They had their
They can
own-
be that again.
They had their own fucking network forever.
Yes.
They were like the first to do it, dude. Like I don't want to say that I'm a Notre Dame fan, but if they had the blueprint to get it done, they've pretty much done it. And if they're successful and they get this chip, and he brings them back to true relevancy, because technically they have 11 national titles, but they haven't won one since like the fucking 40s or some shit. Like they won all their stuff way, way, way back in the day, right? That's why they were Notre Dame, hoorah, blah, blah, blah. But like if he could recapture that,
Dude, why leave?
the money that the boosters would put behind that fucking school, it would break the fucking flood barrier.
Got that church money.
Oh my! It's just there's so much history there. There's so many people who would put towards that cause, especially if they believe in the coach. Dude, he would get the biggest contract. You could see him.
They should be a perennial power.
Well, because he just signed a new contract, and then some of the pundits were like, he should be re-signed again for more money. It's like, well, I don't know if you can do that. That's why they got out in front of it. But
you can always
the
renegotiate.
guy also doesn't seem like he's the most money-hungry dude, right? Like he seems like he is definitely in it more for the game.
I mean, I can see him getting a new contract if he wins the Natty.
Sure. I can also see his his local sponsorships in the community. He'll just be making money everywhere he goes. His meals will be paid. He'll be sponsored by all the local shit. Like that guy's gonna be
own that.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you're the big man on campus and you're doing it and doing it well, why would you
doing it
well? Little LA. I represent Queens. She was raised out in Brooklyn. Sorry.
So let's just revisit all our picks. We all want Notre Dame to win, but we all think Ohio State's going to win.
I guess that's kind of how it's more or less. I do think if we were betting the game, I would bet Ohio State to probably even cover.
I would bet Ohio State in the 8 probably.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump.
It's not to say though, real quick. I'm sorry, we will jump, but it's not to say that Notre Dame can't get this right. Yeah. It's not like an absolute complete blowout matchup.
But there's a reason they're the underdog.
Yes. Especially with what Ohio State has shown in these playoffs.
100%.
What are we jumping to, Z?
Well, we didn't really have much first segment, and one of our favorite things on the pod is draft stuff because we love college football so much, which I think also kind of shows. Because these guys stay for all these years, and we see them, unlike college basketball, where you don't really see anybody for more than a year. So it's nice that, we fall in love with some of these guys and watch these guys' careers.
Yeah, there's much more build-up, and especially with our teams not making the playoffs, we'll have a schedule as far as looking forward to the draft, for sure.
So, we talked about, how do we want to start this? How do we want to go? We want to just talk positions? We want to go top 10?
Well, I think we have to talk about. Okay, Titans #1 overall pick, right? We have to address that first, in the sense of nobody's going to move up to get. There's no true #1. So if you're Tennessee, what do you do?
Well, a lot of this is going to depend on free agency.
It said, sure,
You know
sure.
what I'm saying?
There is the open market after the Super Bowl, before the draft, for sure. That
we
week can
don't,
go.
we don't really know who's going to be signed, who isn't going to be signed, who's going to be let go.
Do you think they're going to make a play for one of the potential
Free agent QBs, though? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe do you feel
I mean,
higher?
draft Travis Hunter, because that would be the if
Correct.
you're going to get the QB in free
There's
agency,
always
you get
that.
the best
That would
prospect.
be the
in the
Kansas.
draft. Yeah, that'd be the next best.
There's
bet.
always
Right.
that. I think the Vikings quarterback question is the thing that sets up all the rest of free agency.
So maybe we should get into that first then.
Ooh,
Talk some
shit,
Sam
okay.
Darnold.
All right.
Well, if we can jump into there first. So I think that
Let's head over to that.
I mean,
If you're saying that's the first domino, it's got to fall. We got to hear your opinion for sure.
Daniel Jones was signed to be a backup to either J.J. McCarthy and or Sam Darnold. The way Sam looked the last 2 weeks, he is now the backup to J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold will be the number one free agent going into the offseason.
Yeah.
Looked at to me more as I don't think the Browns at 2 go free agent quarterback. Also, their quarterback tore his Achilles again, so he's done all next year.
Yeah, no.
Again.
I
Again.
100% agree with you there.
So
just
they're
because,
drafting a quarterback because of the money.
yes, I was in this same wavelength with you on there, because they can't spend that money on another quarterback. Their
Right.
money's tied up. They need a rookie contract
So-
at that position.
So then, if Sam is a free agent, you have the Titans at 1.
What do
have
you
the
think?
Giants
What
at
do you
3.
think about the idea? Real quick, let me sidebar into something. The idea of like if just sidebar. If somebody is injured like Deshaun Watson, preseason, off-season, we know for a fact he's not playing this season. Why wouldn't you be able to just like put him on season-ending injury reserve already and then get that money back, right? Like it's not even
I think
the
they're-
active season, right?
I'm sure it's in the contract
I'm
where
sure
they're
it's
not
somewhere.
allowed to just do that to him. Whatever is allowed,
guess
though,
that's
I
true,
would move
'cause you
him
gotta-
away from the team if I could.
You
Right.
gotta pay him. You do have to pay him.
I wouldn't play him though.
Well, he's not playing that money.
I know
You're not getting that money back.
Even if he was healthy, we've talked about this. I'm sorry. So that was my sidebar. It didn't make a lot of sense once I said it.
Okay, so me and Chuck, do you feel the same way in our thinking that the Browns already paying
Drafting a
money, so they're
quarterback.
drafting
Well,
a
yeah.
quarterback no matter what?
At 2?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is the best way to get a quarterback contract under control, right?
And get that extra year, but you're not going to hope. You're hoping you're not going to be picking this high in the draft, so you might as well take a shot, even though the quarterback position is so risky.
So I want to say then, if Tennessee does not get a quarterback in free agency, do they draft Cam Ward? Is
They
that
draft
the
Ward.
number one?
I have them take. I'm more a Shador fan because I think that we've seen Shador win games in the pocket, take a beating from the pocket, and he still stands in there and throws a ball. Cam,
I'll give him that. I've definitely seen him show that skill.
Cam gets a little loosey goosey with the ball.
He had to.
His accuracy necessarily isn't as great. He is more of an athlete. He's probably got a better arm. But I don't know if I'll move off it. I think at the end of the day, before the draft comes out, a lot of people will have Cam Ward as their number one. I'm sticking with Shador just because I've seen him win from the pocket. And no matter what anybody says, you can be like Lamar and Josh, you still have to win the game from the pocket at some point in time. And that's where
You got to be able to read the field and make the right throw.
Correct.
That's what a quarterback needs to
And
do.
part of the Sam Darnold talk is he looked old Sam Darnold in the last 2 games.
He was seeing ghosts.
He was not. He
That's
wasn't
such
seeing
a
ghosts.
that because that's how much they throw that in his face.
Sorry.
He wasn't making quick decisions
Correct.
like he needed to.
He needed to be. The
That
ball
all-
needed to be coming out.
Offensive line gave up a lot of sacks because he was holding on to
Nine
it.
fucking hits.
It-
That's a lot. And then
he
that's
would-
just sacks.
as soon as
That's
that
not
back-
even every time he's getting a hit.
And you saw on the other side of the ball, Matt Stafford, back foot in the ground, balls coming out. And
Dude,
balls coming
Staff
out.
and McVay are like they could easily win this game in Philly. I think that
I hope they do.
there's not a lot of talk about the Rams and what they're doing right now, but they are playing some of the best football around in the
Yeah.
NFL right now.
I would agree that you're sleeping on him if
I hate-
you
I
don't
hate-
think
I
that
hate
they're
to
going to
say
make this again.
I fucking hate to say that. Like, I
Yeah,
don't want
me
to
too, bro.
Rams. I know, but my non-biases have to come out, and I have to tell you, non-objectively.
But to bring it back, I think the Titans, instead of going the Darnold route, being number one pick, I think
They're gonna
they
take a
probably
QB. They're
look
gonna
at
take a
quarterback
QB. They do.
real hard.
They
And
do.
I think they ended up
Absolutely.
just going that way
Here's
because
the
they're going to
crazy
just buy that hype.
What's the crazy thing, Zane? As
Okay.
you posture up, you tell us, bro.
No, I was in my backside. The Titans take Cam Ward.
Okay.
Primetime's already come out and said that his son will not play for the Cleveland Browns. So now you have a whole, oh shit, do we take him now? We deal with, he come out, he doesn't sign, right? Like he could do the John Elway, the Eli Manning, and then now do you have to trade him to somebody like the Raiders or somebody else? Like, I'm just saying, like, or the Giants.
I'm sure you're just saying, bro. I'm sure you are. Just saying.
Because you have to know that that's coming down the pipeline, right? So do you even take the risk of dealing with, how do you handle that as, an organization? Do you go and get Shador knowing that he's not coming there?
Well, again, I think it's so far before the draft to come to those like conclusions. There's going to be so much more time put in, and then we'll see if opinions change and how they feel about that. But if that is a problem, then that does get scary real quick for the Browns.
Do you also think that the rest of the NFL would just be like, okay, we'll just wait for this guy to wait it out, or we'll trade for you? Think they wouldn't scare off the other 31 other teams?
Maybe no, they didn't scare off. Yeah.
Well, no, but that happened draft night. That swap happened. They knew going out of the draft. No, I'm talking about if Shador gets drafted to Cleveland and he holds out, right? He basically says, I'm not signing my contract, whatever. And they own his rights, as it were. How long is the NFL going to let that happen, right? Before,
I think they figured that out on the phone call when they are at the draft. It could be just one of those draft day events.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with that, but I just think that the other 31 NFL, I would hope that they would take a stand against the idea of yo, dude, you got drafted to this franchise. This is where you're going to start your fucking career. Sorry, welcome to the world. You're not an NFL athlete yet. You don't get to dictate where you go. Did you tell me I'm wrong? Sorry, it's different than it is in college.
Well, yeah,
you're negotiating plain contracts under that franchise, and this is how you get into
your rights.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
Elway did it, and Bo Jackson did it.
But we've seen it. Yeah.
And that was the 8, bro. This is a different era.
I don't know if that makes a difference.
I also don't think Shador is a good enough talent. Bo Jackson, John Elway. Do you hear the guys you're comparing him to?
Well, yes, of course. But as we get closer to the draft, that hype's going to build.
It always does. I think the NFL should just take a stand against some shit like that.
Is this the time that it happens, though? I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. He's not good enough to have the bargaining chip. Where's he going to go? Make your money with your daddy, then, dude. Do whatever you want. Fuck. But, I wouldn't want a guy like that. It's the fucking Devondre Campbell shit. I'm not playing.
No.
You should be grateful to be in the fucking league.
No. Yeah, that is different.
So he's
a player quitting on their team.
Versus not accepting your opening contract.
He doesn't have to sign that contract if you get drafted.
I don't want to play for your organization. I just don't want to be part of this shit show that they call the New York Jets or the Dallas Cowboys or the Browns or the Titans.
Come on,
that's exactly
the
Jaguars.
Maybe that's why. Shut up. Maybe that's exactly why I hate this. Because what if everybody just does that? That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Well, I think it's the way you look for quarterbacks more of any other position. How do you protect that quarterback? What have you done in the past to show that quarterback has been protected? I wouldn't want to go play for the Jets. What they did with Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson, how they either protected him. You look at some other organizations.
They hung him out to dry at a very young age. New York
teams, yeah, you can point to certain situations where teams have ruined quarterbacks' careers.
Dude,
didn't give them a chance.
Cleveland, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. So, but after the Shador camp, I do think that Jackson Dart, Jalen Miller,
I think Dart is going to slam up fucking boards in the next couple of weeks with the underwear.
Which is a Dart fan,
next couple of weeks,
makes me super nervous that I've been taking him in mock drafts in the second round.
Yeah, I see him more of a second round.
It makes me super nervous that somebody does take a flyer right now.
He's going to get later.
He's going to come out and sling it, dude. Watch the tape, dude.
His deep throws are great. Kiffin did one favor to Dart with it. He let him loose. He let him fucking sling that rock all over the field. Yeah, and he's big as shit. He's got the measurables. Yeah. The NFL loves measurables. They absolutely do.
6'2", 225.
Perfect. Give me that, dude. We'll teach him how to throw.
He knows how to throw. Just teach him how to read.
Well, again, he's got to get more consistent with his feet. But
always,
dude, any team can. You get a good quarterback, whispering coach, anybody that gets those feet right, dude. I think that kid is right there. I don't know if he gets up because we haven't seen it with like we saw with Cameron Shador, but that kid's. I think Jackson Dart's up there, dude. If my Raiders traded back up into like the end of the first round
to get him, snag him at 31.
Yeah, something like that. I'd be right on board. The Jalen Milroe is the one that you're like, dude, could he? Because we saw it against Georgia, right? We see him against Georgia just play this great game, but then he sucks against Tennessee. He sucks against Vanderbilt. He sucks against Oklahoma.
And I think that is the
like bad.
Well, that's why we have the top two that are separated, and everybody else seems a little bit more developmental.
Because after that, you got dudes like Quinn Ewers. Okay, we've seen it. Kyle McCord, Will Howard, and then after that, you got Dylan Gabriel, Curtis Rourke, and I don't really watch the Tyler Stroud kid. And the Curtis Rourke dude, I only saw play twice.
None of those kids,
I would say, impressed me on like I want to go get that guy.
Of course, we'll probably build as we get closer, so that somebody will just perform super well at the combine or at the team tryout.
I think the Kyle McCord and Will Howard and the 7 of the quarterbacks that we're talking about. I think.
Okay, so give me your projection of how, like, when do you think all of those guys are going to get third round at the latest, 4th round at the latest? Like,
where's the range?
Well, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Good. That's what I was
thinking. I think the Jalen Jackson is end of 1st, 2nd roundish. The Kyle McCord, Will Howard, and then I don't know if you throw the Stroud.
But are you talking like 4th round, like for the last of those quarterbacks,
and then after maybe even farther, because sometimes it's like, when is the first one going to go?
Sure.
Because everybody's like, okay, I like this guy better.
Right.
But that quarterback is that.
Because that mushy where you're at with the quarterback, you can kind of wait on that until that one guy does go, and then that run's coming. Then your next guy's got to be that QB if you still want to try to get one.
Right. Because I think that
guys, I'm thirsty. Help me out.
Because I think that.
There we go. Let's pop.
The running back and the edge. Oh, you guys can pop. The running back and the edge position, I think, are super deep. Wide receiver, I think, has got a weird top 3. And then after 3, you have the McMillan kid.
Right.
You know how to say his first name?
What's that kid out of? Is that the kid out of Arizona?
Yeah. Do you know how to say his first name? Tatario. Tetairoa. Tatario.
I don't know what that A's doing there. I had it until you said A, and I was like Tatario. Like, and I don't think that's it.
But he's 6'5".
Right, and he put up that fucking monster game to start the season.
Dude, 6'5", 212. He's going to run about that 4.5. Dude, he's your outside receiver. He's the dude that's going down
his hands.
Yeah. Number 2 is going to be Luther Burton. He's the burner out of Mizzou.
That's right.
He's 5'11", 208. And then you got...
that's a block of a dude.
Dude, 208.
Oh, my Lord. 208 at 5'11", and I bet you he's just diced, too. I bet you, just a fucking...
That's just a yak build right there.
It could, yeah, that's an Ayuk-esque
kind
of thing.
Emeka Mbuka.
Out of LSU.
6'4", 205. He's going to run
solid.
Dude, he's going to run a 4.3. Then there's no...
Hopefully. He hopes he does.
Then there's not a consensus number 4 I can't find. You got Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, 6'3", 210. He runs at around about a 4.5. But then you got the Isaiah Bond kid. He's 5'11", 180, but he's going to run a 4.28.
Well, let's also be real about this. Like, traditionally, wide receivers are one of the deepest classes every year, right?
So I think...
You just got to find the right one. You can find some loosey-gooseys back in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, undrafted sometimes.
Right, because I think that you get... The 3 are not elite compared to the 3 from last year.
There's more green there. I guess it is 32.
But I think you get your 2nd and 3rd round receivers this year could be good. Because you got the Jaden Higgins kid, 6'4", 215, out of Iowa State. You got the Miami kid, Respido, Tez Johnson, who's super small, but he's going to burn. So put him in the right system.
Where does Tez Johnson, like, he is a gadgety little dude.
That's what he is.
Right.
No, I know. So
you gotta know how to use it. We gotta get him open.
When you get the free run off the motion where you
come
around the outside.
Exactly. Because Lord knows he ain't gonna do. If he ever met Ed Reed, it'd be a bad day for that kid. Thank God they've cleaned up hitting in the NFL, dude, because a dude like that wouldn't last in that era of safety.
Receivers get a little mucky, but they're not nobody elite like Neighbors.
Well,
no elite like Neighbors and Thomas. Cheers.
Well, the first pick though, the Arizona kid, isn't he the elite guy in the group?
He's elite. He's elite, but I'm talking. You don't have the depth. You don't have the Lad McConkey and Pearsall. You might get 4. That's so good. You might get 4 Trav taken, but I don't think they're going to be as good as what we saw with Pearsall, McConkey, Thomas. Neighbors in Thomas early. We don't
No.
really see it with Marvin Harris.
We got a sidebar real quick because you know what we do after we drink a beer, right?
Yeah, what are we drinking?
We're going to begin to say throughout the next week or two,
Rest in peace.
imbibe.
Bob.
Rest in
Breaks my heart. But I'm just like, yeah, so they unfortunately are shutting down at the end of next month.
Child's favorite brewery.
And it breaks my heart. I got this and another beer, but it was packed. I'm going to go back and get more. They basically said we're going to stay open until we run out of beer, which makes sense. I'm so sad about that. 5.5. It's a Marzen. It's wonderful. I don't know how they didn't make it. This beer's so
Honestly,
good.
I mean, I guess because of the situation of yesterday, but I kind of expected the day when I got here to open that fridge and to just be full and buy it.
That might very well still happen. I mean, I just didn't grab a whole lot. Like I said, it was poor dude was solo back there, and he was smashing, dude. He was doing a fucking killer job. He was pouring shit and taking cards and like I was like, you're an octopus back here, bro. I got fucking 8 hands moving. So. But it makes me sad now we're showing up because all the beers are half off. So go get your imbibe shit, Reno, if you're listening to this for sure. Because it's really good beer. It makes me upset. It makes me upset. But I am glad there's still a thriving local beer scene. And the Parlay 6 obviously is clearly coming out and doing some things. Pigeonhead is still amazing. The Sleeve is a fantastic. Shush Boom. Shout out to Shush Boom. Have you guys ever been out there?
Oh yeah, I've been out there.
Oh man, they make good food and good beer, dude. So yeah, I'm sorry, Bob. You break my heart. Maybe the Brewers can figure something out and start a different, brewery later or something. Who knows? Rico. Thank you. Yes, breaking my heart. Exactly. I'm glad that you have to, laugh at my sadness.
I'm not laughing. I'm
This is
singing.
traditional
I'm
beer.
singing, Chuck. I'm singing. I'm sad too. I'm drinking.
I'm sad too.
My tears are falling into it.
I'm making it a little salty.
I'm adding that electrolytes.
One more.
Cheers. We're in bottom.
The imbibe, yeah.
That is tasty.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
Like to give a little love to the position that people have said has been downgraded, but obviously last year we saw some fucking running backs have some great years. Obviously, you got to start off the top with the man from Boise State. Ashton's
He's an animal.
Dude, he's 5'9", 215, gonna run a 4.42. He does it
like
all.
a freight train.
And I think these first 3 dudes they're not like Ashton, obviously, but they're all kind of like the same type of back with Omarion Hampton and Caleb Johnson. Both of them are 6 foot. One's 225, one's 220. They're about that 4.5 to 4.50 speed, but they're the 3-down backs. So they're like the dude that's
Pass block,
Josh Jacobs.
up the center. Like they can do a little bit of everything.
Not so much pass catching.
Work on their hands a
All
little bit
purpose.
more. Work on their hands a little bit more. But those 3 backs are more your all-purpose. Get it
3-down
done.
back.
Yeah.
Four
And then,
hours.
I love a running back who can pass block, dude. Watching them pick up those hot blitzing like linebackers and
Yep.
shit is so fucking impressive. Like that's a ballsy fucking move. You're just stepping
Yeah,
up. And
you're a
throwing the
smaller
guy.
guy.
I was gonna say a solid 40 pounds who's already running at you, and you just gotta stand
well,
there.
I know, linebackers now are as big as what we used to think they were. A lot of linebackers are running in the 210.
No, I think that's still a little light, dude. I think you're looking at least more to 230 is probably the average.
230,
Yeah.
Against
What do you? Well, I don't know. Sometimes your pass blocking back should be a little bit bigger, but you're looking at a guy who's maybe 200, 205, right? Coming up in that hole.
Patrick Queen.
All 3 of those guys are 220 to 225.
There you go. That's good shit.
The next dude,
Especially running 4.4, 4.5s. Yeah, sign me up. I'll take one of those.
the next dude is kind of a dude I've kind of fallen in love with through the playoffs. Is to Travion Henderson at Ohio State.
He's got that
He's
breakaway.
5'10". He's 2'8". He's got a 4.39.
He's got that breakaway. You've seen it.
Well, because I'm at 4, because everywhere you look, those 3 dudes are 1, 2, 3. There's not a change. There's not a change on that.
At some point in the very near future,
I think he
though,
could get up into the
1000%.
top. The dude I would have had next, I think we got to talk about. The 2 Penn State kids went back. Penn State's trying to run it back, everybody. Allen goes back, Singleton goes back, and Allen goes back. So now your 2-headed monster's back, and your quarterback's back. The tight end is not. Tight end's going top 15. Kid is a stud. If he doesn't go top 15, I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised if Warren didn't go 15.
Yeah, no, he's the
The
first.
Colts at 14 is actually what I was thinking.
I see him a lot in some mocks already there. Is there another team you're looking at?
Well, after that, if he doesn't go to the Colts, I do think he could fall, and then you're looking at like who just takes him.
You know what I think helps his stock too is the absolute smashing of a season your boy just had. 1,000%.
I do too.
Yep.
And you know what else I think with the Laportas?
He looks just like him. He basically mirrors what Brock Bowers offers to the Raiders right now, right? So if he goes to that right kind of system, he could thrive just like that.
And that's why, like, I would love if he went to the Rams, but that's just
no.
That's just because I'm not. That's just because I'm
we wouldn't.
I think what he would do with the Rams would be
No.
But after that, think about that. I mean, the Falcons
kind of have their tight
He's
end.
not going to pull that far. They're not going to trade up to get him.
Cardinals,
we don't have to worry about that.
No.
Cardinals already got Trey McBride, who's making a name for himself.
Yeah,
I
he's
know.
emerged.
The
Poor guy needs more tutties, but he's a hell of a force out there.
The Bengals, maybe. I mean, they maybe. I mean, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. The Seahawks had really.
T's gonna lose. You're gonna lose T Higgins. You have to.
But I think the Bengals. The Bengals have to take the cornerback that's either there, and I think it's either
some sort of back end, high
You
safety,
have
high
to.
cornerback. Agreed. No, for sure.
I think I had him taking either. I don't know who's before that. But I had him either taking Siobhan Revell or the Jada Barron kid.
They could draft their first 3 picks in the back end and still need more help back there, dude. They were terrible back there. It's the reason why Joe Burrow wasted an MVP fucking season.
But after Travion, you got.
I mean, how sad is that?
After Trayvon, you got Dylan Sampson, 5'11", but he's going to run a 4.35. He's a small back. He's your scat back. He's your catcher. I think he can run between the tackles, but I don't think he can run between the tackles like all downs.
Sure.
And then I put Quinshawn Judkins. I think
Is he coming out too? Is Jenkins coming out as well? Both of them?
He's a banger though. He's like the top 3 guys. Maybe just not as elite as the top 3. More of the run down.
I like watching his kind of style though. That's the Derrick Henry kind of style for sure.
I just that old school running backs are fine by me. Too.
And then I think the next 2 dudes.
The
The next 2 dudes form the exact same thing with Devin Neal, the kid from Kansas that had all those touchdowns that game, and Cam Scadaboo. The problem with Cam is Cam's going to be a slow 4.6. And in the NFL,
it's too slow.
I'm a little worried that that's slow.
It's 1,000% too slow for a breakaway.
He's a good all-around back, but he definitely not having that breakaway. He seems like a change of pace kind of guy.
Or he becomes that fullback that
he's just got to do the
right
Maurice
system.
He's just got to do the Maurice Jones-Drew though. No, he's just got to go out there and prove that he can get away from these guys. Sometimes straight line speed versus game speed can be different. And he will get drafted and he'll get some touches somewhere, right? So he's just got to prove that he can. Even if you don't break away from them, you got to at least break the tackle, or fall forward,
I still really like him. Like he took over that,
and he's got heart. He's got mad heart. You watched him; he was puking on the sidelines, and he almost led that team back single-handedly.
Any kind of
couple
player
of
that
things
can
broke
take
their way.
over a game in a playoff game, like that's a player you want on your team.
Agreed.
And again, since he's probably going to be drafted later because of his speed, it's someone you could get in a later round and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. I think that the next position, we'll only touch on 2 more because we're getting, is edge.
Okay.
A dual Carter.
Always a big position, man.
The emphasis needs to be on edge.
He's my number 2 guy on my
overall,
board, and he's not going to change. What we saw through the playoffs, even when he was hurt, he was dominating.
Is Hunter your 1?
Hunter's 1.
Okay.
And I didn't put Hunter in receiver or cornerback.
Put him in both?
I didn't put. We don't know.
Yeah, I think you can put him in both.
He would be number 1 in both. He would be number 1 in both.
Wait, no.
I think
you think he'd be number 1 in? I mean,
I think you should hone him in as a wide receiver, honestly. But that's my personal aspect.
I think he'd be number 1 in both.
I mean, I see Will Johnson so high on
Will
the
Johnson
draft
is a stud, but I think
the Travis Hunter is better than him. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Travis Hunter is. I would, if I was a team, I would put, like, if you're the Giants, right? Because that's who's Giants or Browns. Somebody in there is going to take him, or Giants, Patriots. Browns, Patriots, somebody there. Why not have him as a corner? You put him on the other side, and he's locked down, and then you bring him in as like a receiver. And like these, you don't have to play him first and second, or he can come on in first and second, but he can have a couple snaps off, a series off, and then come in, have a couple plays, take a break, come in, have a couple. I think that's the easiest way to use him both ways is corner full time and then on receiving packages.
Let's go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, value at receiver might be higher, but I would do the same thing. I would have him play corner, and I'd use him in packages as a wide receiver if I was the GM of the team I drafted him.
That's what I'd be looking at too, Joe.
Yeah. Did you feel similar?
No,
You're going to go wide receiver.
I think he needs to just commit to being a wide receiver, especially if he gets drafted to fucking New England. Are you kidding me? To pair him with Drake May and like develop a true number one connection with a young quarterback? That's what the NFL runs on.
That's what they would want in that position too. And maybe you run the opposite instead of what we're saying.
Sure, you can sprinkle him in packages and nickel,
or those situations like in the game when you know they're going for the Hail Mary, you throw him in to cover deep.
But if he's going to play wide receiver, he's not really playing corner because there isn't. Your teams are nickel almost all the time now.
Sure, that's true. So dime, then whatever.
Maybe you bring him, but then if you're playing wide receiver, playing more receiver.
Well, either way, honestly, I'm of the opinion you commit him to one side of the ball. Whatever you're drafting him for, commit him to that because the NFL is too good for you to try to dabble in too many positions. Everybody can play multiple positions in the NFL. That's what you have to do.
Not as well as him. There
we
are
don't know
exceptions,
but we don't know that. He's only done it in college. When's the last time you saw a two-way player in the NFL?
I think, I agree with Zach. I think he's different.
Okay, we'll see.
The number of snaps alone, just his motor is insane.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I just think that if you, no matter, I think he's the number one overall prospect. Let's not dispute that. Okay, I'm not saying that he's not fucking insanely talented, but what I'm saying though is to get, I believe, the most out of him is to commit to one of the, and you coach the fuck out of that.
Well, I mean, if he would play corner, he would be committed to that side of the ball. He would be your other lockdown corner. I would say he comes in on packages as a receiver when you have like 3-4 wide outs. So he has packages where he's in, and then all of a sudden, that's what I would do. Because then I get more use out of the other time.
I mean, I think he has the best shot to be the
two-way player. I guess Taysom Hill is the only person I can think of that is as gadgety.
But getting back to the edges, so you got Dual Carter, and then you got Mikael Williams from Georgia, James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, and then you got back-to-back Texas A&M kids with Nick Scrotum and
say that name again.
Scruton? I don't know. And then you got Sherman Stewart are my five. But I think you can get almost 6 in the first round.
With edges?
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
And I think this Mike Green kid, Senior Bowl, this is the kid that's going to jump out because he's from the small school. So small school kids have always looked at Brandon Fritz. By the way, Senior Bowl practices start 27th, week of 27. I think the Senior Bowl is a huge thing now because look at Brandon Fisk, Quinyon G.
There's been a lot of players that are discovered or their stock grows greatly in the Senior Bowl.
I would say it's reinforced, right? You have the questions about him, you go and see him live, and you're like, that's it. That's the dude.
And they're doing it like maybe they played in the Mountain West or maybe they played in the Sun Belt, and now they're doing it against Georgia.
Those guys from Clemson and fucking Florida State when they were good.
And you see a lot of the time the coaches that are involved in the Senior Bowl will get that closer look, or they're usually the teams that end up drafting those guys because they're like, okay, this confirmed what we were thinking or what we were looking at.
Those are your football guys, right? Like, those guys love to play football. They came out to the fucking Senior Bowl. Like, they played as much college football as you are legally allowing them to do. Like
they're the more polished players.
Traditionally. I mean, obviously, there have been some young bloods who have come in and really fucked some shit up. Redshirt sophomores when they can be drafted and whatnot. But it's except for the running backs, you want experience in all, like almost all other positions.
That's trend on the tire.
That's the only position, that's
pretty much.
And then quarterbacks, I think that Will Johnson's, he's one of those picks for me as a Raiders where you either need to get him, Carter, or McMillan, and you can't lose when taking either one.
I was going to say all 3 of those options do sound fantastic.
Because you get your lockdown corner, you get your stud edge rusher, you need a stud receiver. So we're in a good spot.
Those are the premiums. And you don't have to, if you don't have to wiggle for one of those, that's fucking fantastic. Let everybody just, crash out at the top.
The next 3 names probably definitely go in the first round, maybe the 4th. Shavon Ravel Jr. He's 6'3", 193. He's out of like East Carolina.
East
Pirates.
Carolina.
Got that reach and that size.
Come on and raise.
And then you got the kid that shut down Jeremiah Smith last week, Jair Barron from Texas. He was the one that shut down Jeremiah Smith.
It's good tape. It's good tape.
Great tape.
Yeah. No, going into the combine, that's the best thing you can do.
The next kid is a kid that's going to have to try to shut him down this week, and Benjamin Morris.
6', 190. Then I wrote Trey Amos is 6'1", 190. But then I got this kid I'm watching at Iowa State.
Who are you watching?
Iowa State is this.
Darren Porter, 6'4", 200 pounds, but he's supposed to run a 4.38.
6'4"?
I was thinking safety.
Jesus.
I was thinking safety in 4.38 40. I was thinking safety.
Size-wise, it makes sense. That speed is that's corner speed.
You get corner speed, but
Yeah, we gotta see how Luke is oily his hips are.
Well, but
He's gonna have oily hips. Oily hips. Oily hips.
But if he could just cut loose going downhill as a safety,
That's what
are
I'm
you
saying.
fucking kidding me?
At
dude?
6'4",
Oh my
And-
lord!
and
That's Cam Chancellor.
all you're doing
That's
is as a free safety, like my guy Malik Starks, who's gonna go. I don't
Starks
think-
will go. Yeah.
Well, he's gonna go, but he's not gonna go 10. I
He's
think
going to be a first-round
he's-
pick.
yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna be-
he's
yeah,
gonna go
That's
top.
another
Which-
defensive position.
He's going top 15, but he's a dude that is. He's one of those dudes that changes
Why,
games.
exactly. So why are safeties so undervalued? I feel like they're the running backs of the
They are.
defensive side
They are.
of the ball.
But
Right?
I
They
think-
just almost get forgotten.
But I think a dude like this that can come down and cover in the nickel
Where we just don't have
gives you that much more of an advantage, because then when he's in the nickel covering, he can blitz, and he's a hell of a blitzer. So I think that this kid's a stud.
I wish there was a little bit more love in Sean's safeties.
I just feel like that position has been devalued because we don't
for a
have
while.
that game changers that we have at a lot of other positions.
There's
There's
less
of them. There's like
There is far. I can't really name one off the top of my head that's like, watch out for that fucking safety. Who you got?
I mean
Kyle
since
Hamilton from
Hamilton.
Baltimore.
He kind of had it down here this year.
No,
It
once he
wasn't
went back to safety,
terrible.
once he went back to safety, he
I
changed
moved
that
from
whole
corner to
defense.
safety and
They
played
had him
him
in,
to safety.
and they had him down in like the nickel, and they put him back top high. And that's the day they went.
Who's
back
rangy as
in.
fuck. I don't know why you wouldn't leave
And
him
then
there.
I think Trayvon Moore is making a name for
There you
himself.
go.
My
For
guy.
your boys, yeah.
We got to sign him. But he had a hell of a
That does
year.
help.
So I think when you
Get the Starks and the Hamiltons.
I love
at the
a good
top end.
safety.
dude, they can change your defense.
Well, I mean, yeah, it just feels like there hasn't been a strong one since the Palomalos and Ed Reeds of the world.
Right.
Well,
We haven't had that
Well,
kind
I
of
was-
like
Thank
just.
you. I was going to say I hate how he exited Seattle, but Earl Thomas is
Yes,
absolutely
Earl
Kyle
Thomas.
Hamilton.
Well, both of the
Well,
both
no,
of your safeties.
Kyle
are-
Hamilton is having a hell of a year, and then I think two dudes that need to
Cam
shout
never
out.
got enough time. Cam was out like he.
When his time was,
He was-
up, though, he performed
Oh my
at
God.
one of
He
the
was-
highest levels.
Dude, he was the boom.
But I think you got to look
Sorry.
at other safeties like Bates for Falcons has had a great year.
Mhm.
McKinney,
That's true. He
the
did.
Giants let go, had 9 picks, and
He
Kirby
had,
Joseph.
yeah, that's true.
When you have it, when you have a top safety,
Well,
top
McKinney was a
back,
cornerback. McKinney's or is he?
No,
is
he's
he
a
safety?
safety.
Is he?
Yeah,
Yeah, Xavier
sure.
McKinney is a safety. You're
Yes,
right. You're right.
I don't understand how the GM of
I
the
know.
Giants still has a job.
after
Just
that,
letting go of Pro Bowlers. We don't need
he
those
won't-
guys.
no,
Those are the guys you want
not,
to keep.
hey, not just Pro Bowlers, Trev. All
All
pros.
pros.
He won't
Let go
He
of
won't
two of
run.
Some of
He
the
won't rush
best
for
at the
2,000
position
yards.
we're
He
going to
won't-
replace with
Who of them?
nobodies.
Who?
He won't. Well, who was the second one?
McKinney's an
Oh,
all-pro at
okay,
safety. He had
yeah,
9 picks
yeah.
for the Packers.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the
he-
Giants
yeah,
could
he was
use
part of
that,
it.
you think?
He won't run for 2,000 yards or anything. You put that on wax,
That man
dog.
have a
That
job.
was nobody else is ever going to do preseason hard knocks.
Anything else you want to touch on, Trev, real quick? Oh, and I think Jalen Walker, first-round linebacker out of Georgia, look for him to be special.
Okay.
Okay.
Off ball. Jaheed Campbell might make first round. Walker's definitely first round.
Yeah, Campbell was the
Special.
other one I'd have questions about at the linebacker position.
Yeah, they're easily top 2.
But
I don't.
linebackers, once again, not traditionally one that you draft super.
Jalen Walker's going super high.
Okay.
And I mean, we kind of started with the draft order, but we fell into the position. But let's bring it back a little bit. Like we talked about the Titans and the Bengals at the top, but how about the rest of this?
Well, okay. I went quarterback, and then Travis Hunter to the Giants. You just got to add talent to that team. Giants have to be that team that's got to be looking to Sam Darnold. You have to be looking top draft, thinking if neither of these guys go free agency, we know they need a quarterback. I need to go get a free agent quarterback. You are now tied to what you do at that position, And if you've already Shane already fucked it up. Patriots, I think, can go two different ways. You go McMillan, or you go Carter, depending on, because Carter's going to be there, unless the Giants say we're going to go Carter, which I don't know why you
I
would
think
over
that's
Hunter.
can't miss for either of those picks at that spot.
So then you
Well,
take
the one thing they have
right.
is the defensive line.
So then you get the receiver, but
I
then
love
you
investing in the trenches, but I feel like that one just wouldn't be needed with all the other stuff.
right, and then you got the Jags who can go Carter, or the Graham kid who Mason Graham out of Michigan. He's my number 4. He's a stud. You go both of those guys there. They're going defensive line there. I don't think they'd go McMillan. They might go Will Johnson. Their back end kind of sucks too.
So they're going defense, either line.
I think
or
they go defense
corner.
no matter what. I think if Carter's there, why not pair him with Walker? But I also think that Graham fills a bigger hole and Will Johnson fills a bigger hole. So then that's when you get to the Raiders. That either Carter, McMillan, and or Johnson are going to be there, and all three fill spots. Graham would be a great pick, but I think Carter, McMillan, and Johnson fill more needs and are just as good in the rankings over if a Graham falls there.
So you would say overall, other than the fact that you probably won't get that A1 quarterback, you don't mind where the Raiders are given the way that your draft potentially plays out.
I think that way you drafted last year, and
Okay.
the way you drafted, you have some pieces now. You got to do some re-signing because Morig is good. You got Robert.
Well, no, I'm just asking. You're okay with 6. It sounds like
yes.
you're quite happy with
I don't
the
think,
guys that
and
you
I
are
don't
going to be
think
able to pull.
and I don't think you trade up for the quarterback. If one falls, you take him.
Sure.
But you don't
Okay.
make that. You don't make that trade because the equity isn't worth it. Look what you
You're
can
gonna
do
give
with
up too much.
Right.
You're
Look
gonna
what you
give
can
up too
do with a Brock Bowers, or you can get another pass catcher for a quarterback for Colin Thordy, or you can just make your defense that much better. The defense started to come on at the end, and there was a lot of injuries. After that, the Jets. I think the Jets are going to go Graham. I think he falls to them, and they just take that defensive tackle, shores up their line. I don't know.
I think they're more of the wild card of the top 10.
I do too because they don't have that pressing need.
I also feel like they're probably the one negotiable team if somebody falls.
I actually think the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, somebody can
I
move
actually think the one
in or
trade the
out.
Raiders could make would be if there was a quarterback at 4 and the Raiders trade for 6 to 4.
Yeah, if one of them falls.
Correct.
But why would they have to jump? Do you think the Jags would take a
No, because then
quarterback?
somebody else would be. Who else is moving up?
But that's what I'm saying. But you think somebody would maybe make the jump to the Jags to get in front of you, kind of thing, is what you're thinking.
What do you think the Patriots
I mean,
need a lot
that's
to
not
really
that's not a
make that
terrible
way
thought,
to
but it
get
all
it.
depends on how much you would have to give. Oh my lord, it's.
But I also
you
think
need
there's
two
respect.
spots to
The
be.
respect in the two rooms now. You see a lot of trades happen when there's respect for the two rooms. You have the
Sure.
Brady. You have the Brady.
Fine.
Vrabel
Yeah,
thing.
that is
There-
true.
there
That is true.
stuff that you see relationships take place with trades. That'd be the only
That's
trade.
how the Giants snaked fucking Brian Burns.
For a 2 and a 3.
Correct.
So Shane did do an insane job.
Insane
there,
on that one.
How you have the draft kind of fallen. If one of the top 2 defensive linemen don't fall to the Panthers, they might be the first team that takes a tackle.
Maybe tackle. I actually thought
Or wide receiver?
the Patriots might take a tackle. You do need to protect Jaden Daniels. I think it's
Yeah.
a reach for any of the tackles. You don't have
Bryce
the.
Young?
No, I said I paid for Patriots. I think the
Oh, that's
Patriots
Drake
could
May.
be.
Yeah, tackle, they should be
I
in the
said
market.
Jaden Daniels.
So, I
I'm
mean,
sorry. Drake, I think you have to protect Drake, but you're
Yes.
a little high to take a tackle there, but it is your biggest need.
Well,
so they would. That's why they're in prime position to trade back.
You don't think there's a number 4, like a tackle rated that high?
I think that the tackles
When
go
do you think
more
first
mid.
tackle goes? That's what I was gonna say.
10, 11.
Okay. Shit. Oh
I
shit.
think that
that was the premium position last
I
year.
think-
Remember, tackles were fucking.
and I think that the Panthers, whether McMillan falls or Graham falls or whoever falls, but then you have the other edge sitting right there, Michaela Williams, who could go, and then you could almost go another edge with Saints too, depending on how the edges go right there. Because there's a lot. Those 3 first edges are really good. Or after a duel, they're good.
You think Bears go?
I think Bears need to protect.
Jesus
I've
Christ,
often-
no kidding. Yeah, it doesn't matter whoever your number 1 rated offensive line prospect is
Correct.
at that time. Is
If
what you're
he's-
drafting.
if
I don't
he's-
care what position.
If he's still there, you have to go. You could if you said,
Unless you don't have a first round grade on any of the guys, I guess.
you're
at
going
that
to.
time,
You're
right?
going to have it on either Will Campbell or Kelvin Benz. Josh Simmons is that later one.
But you got to get one of those dudes there.
And so that's where the Niners fall in trouble. If they want tackle, they could be in trouble if you went Patriots, Bears at tackle. Then the Niners would be stuck. Maybe
Drafting a wide
taking
receiver.
either taking a wide receiver or taking the second corner and my guy from ECU and Chanel Revelle. That's another
You're gonna
play
take
for
a
the
fullback.
Niners there.
You're gonna take a kicker.
And then the Cowboys, you might as well just pencil it in right now. Ashon Genty's going to the Cowboys.
I mean, I could see that for the Cowboys, but yeah, I want to bring it back because selfishly, I want to know more about my team because I'm a selfish motherfucker.
You're also, at that spot in the draft.
Yes, we haven't had a pick this high
You
in
might
quite a
also
while.
have that weird spot where you guys land. The Graham thing's weird. Mason Graham's weird
If
at
he
defensive
falls,
tackle.
of course, if him or Carter fall, it's an easy
Carter's
pick.
never
I don't think
Carter's
Carter's
never
going to be that
falling.
far.
Carter's
Graham could. I think Graham could.
Graham could. But you also have the Bears that could use him. I think there's a lot of
I'm
teams.
hoping he's the one that falls because I think he'd be great. For the
Mason Graham
Niners.
would be huge if
I
you
think-
guys got him.
Well, because I gotta bring this up. There's been reports that Hargrave, even though they restructured his contract, they're still gonna let him go. And that I feel like if that happens, that becomes the more pressing need on the team. And if Graham is off the board,
The next one I don't have for a while. Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon and Ken
I like
Grant.
Nolan, but I think that is
Nolan's
high
too
for him.
high.
But
Nolan, you got to be down in
I also feel like the Niners don't value the tackle position as much.
But
So
then you take another edge there to pair.
I mean, if I think the only
but the shit on
edge
Rebel
would be the McHale.
Well, he could go up, dude. He might go top 10.
he might be picked in front of them. But if he's there, I think he would be the pick. But first I would go, of course, the D tackle, Graham,
Yep.
and then
What about my guy?
McHale if he's there.
I like my guy Chevon Revelle. You got any corner 6'3"? You want that?
I don't
Chevon
know. I don't know. Like, is that too high for that pick?
He could be right in that area.
Hey,
He's gonna ball out.
What have we also seen, man? If he's your guy, make the pick.
Well, he's gonna ball out. Watch him come in the Senior Bowl and just shut down
I
his
just
receivers.
feel
We
like
need
the
to
Niners
stop-
are kind of hoping that
We need to
someone
stop
falls.
going off of rankings that everybody tells us, except for
Sure.
people inside those rooms when they make those draft picks. Like later
And the
in
Niners
rounds,
board has been different than a lot of other
all the
people's.
time, every
Or
fucking
what
year,
was
dude.
thought
every
because
year.
they keep that in house. So it's hard to get that read a lot of the time. But I just feel like if one of those guys doesn't fall, they might even trade back depending on the position they're really looking for or the player they're really looking at. Maybe there is somebody there that I don't know of yet that they really like. But it's being this high up in the draft and having that unknown feeling that D tackle is the pressing need, but if he isn't there, then what?
Yeah, because he is the only D tackle for at least the first 20 something.
Anywhere on the offensive line?
I mean,
Guards too high
tackle.
at that point.
Tackle, guard, center. We could all look at.
Man, it bums me out once again.
I got the Seahawks taking a guard.
We should. That's exactly what we fucking need. Dude, I understand it's not the sexy pick, but when you get a fucking guy who can anchor in an offensive line for 7 to 10 years, you know what I mean?
and
It's a long-term pick for sure.
And for the Seahawks, at least you fall in 18, where it would make more sense for taking the top guard at that position. As far as the draft goes.
I'm really curious to see how we draft this year. I'm glad that we're skipping to my Seahawks.
Is there any other teams we want to skip?
Well, I mean, we got to pay attention to the teams that we love, right?
Correct.
A little bit more.
Really, I don't care about the Dolphins, the Colts, the Falcons, fuck the Cardinals, the Bengals. They need back end. We've been over that.
Quarterback,
They need a defense.
Yeah,
They're
they
going
need back
defense.
end. But okay, so you also said,
Do you think Starks for the Bengals?
I had Starks going the Dolphins.
Dolphins. Okay,
Ooh,
we didn't
shit,
pick
so right
before
in
them.
front of that. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple picks in front of
Starks would fit with the Bengals as well, but I had Starks going the Dolphins. I think he's just legit. Dude.
So if
I don't know why I talked to
there's that grade 1 guard, I'm not against it. I also love the idea of McDonald if he likes as a
Walker?
linebacker. Yes, 1,000%.
I had Walker going the Bucks at
That's what he
19.
developed. He developed.
That would be a good
linebackers.
spot, I
Yes.
think,
It's
to make that pick.
I had Bucks at 19. Then I had the
'cause
Broncos
I
starting
think
the receiver.
we'll still fucking obviously swing back to the offensive line through the mid rounds. I know we're gonna do that, but that first rounder, right? They can make and break the next couple of years of your team, right?
If you hit, it's a starter.
It's amazing. You're right. It's a guaranteed starter for the next couple of years, and Like it's
If you get that, then you're feeling really good.
absolutely. If you come out of every draft where your only guy that you hit on is your first rounder, you're still feeling damn good about that draft because you're normally getting a starter every year. Like that's pretty legit, right? Like, so I mean,
Because then after you, Charlie, I had the Bucks taking Javon Walker linebacker, Broncos taking Burton receiver, Steelers taking Booker receiver, Chargers taking tight end, Packers taking quarterback, and then I think I had the
You
Vikings
think there's
taking
another tight end that goes that high?
Loveland.
Oh yeah, okay.
just he is. You're riding that because of the Harbaugh.
I think I think the only reason he didn't have a good year this year is because statistical year this year is because he had nobody throwing the fucking ball. He's easily
They were
there's two tight
rotating quarterbacks.
don't
They
think
were
they-
bad at quarterback this year.
Two tight
Real
ends.
bad.
If he'd have left last year, he would have went maybe either he might have been the third tight end. I don't know if he'd have been the second tight end, but he'd have been the third tight end taken.
I mean,
He's a good tight end.
I think if I'm putting GM of the Chargers, I try to get that top tight end.
Tyler Warren's a stud.
Get that
Dude.
get Warren, man. Oh my goodness.
Warren is a stud, and then you get the Vikings who they got a weird offseason coming too. They got a quarterback shit to figure out. Their back end might need figuring out. I think Vikings are taking best defensive player available.
Okay, and I think that's a good segue to we are out of beer and on our way to the second segment. We're gonna review and then preview. We got some great games today that should be coming up. So we'll see you soon.
Midday games.
Peace out.
Welcome back to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
All right, cheers, a cider.
I'm excited for this.
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
Get some of that lemongrass, that
Yeah,
ginger,
that's exactly
little
it.
apple.
Dude,
There you
that's
go.
so good.
Ginger grass.
Golden
Done.
State killed it again.
Cider. It is. It's apples,
Yep.
ginger, and lemongrass. Nailed it.
You get
And
all-
it's- you get all
You
of
get
them.
all of it.
all that.
It's this is juicier than the juicy IPA. I mean, obviously, but yeah, they're out of Sonoma, California, if I remember correctly, and this drink's out of
Golden State does some good ciders.
What,
They do.
6? Is it 6?
6-1.
6-1. Okay. So I mean, yeah, you
Gluten
know.
free, vegan friendly, no added
Once
sugars,
again,
no
I-
concentrates. Remember we laughed about this last
Oh my
time?
god, I was dying. Yeah, you don't need. Yeah, we're not gonna go over it again.
I do love the Golden State, man. So we do a lot of two towns in Golden State. We've sprinkled a bunch of others in.
I love
Golden
ciders, dude.
State-
I've really come to love a good cider.
Golden State's
grown on
right
me
there
as
with
well.
the two towns, man. They both do a really great job.
I would say though, I've had a couple of Golden States that were not like.
Was
they
it
were,
the
they were
Brute?
Oh, the very dry one, which traditionally I would like, but it's true. That was more of like a champagne kind of thing, is what he gave me. Brute, it makes sense because it's named after a type of champagne. Yeah, that's a little too much for me, I guess. But
That pineapple one we did 2-3 weeks ago was tasty as fuck.
most ciders hit, I would say, on some foundational level.
What would the one? I know it's always apple, but what's the one other flavor? Is it pear? Is it pineapple? What's the other flavor? You're like, oh shit, there's that flavor.
Of cider?
Yeah. What gets you like? What gets it tingling when you see like that flavor?
Tingling.
That tingling.
I mean, for me, I like trying a bunch of the different ciders just to have that variance, but I'm a pear fan.
Me too. I think the pear ciders sometimes are like a pineapple one's pretty good here and there, but a pear one is fucking outstanding. Every pear one we've had has been like a home run.
I
Can't say no.
traditionally really like the darker berries, blueberries, like a boysenberry cider we've had. I do. I like the darker berry cider. Why are you gonna giggle at that, fool?
Just giggling.
Yeah, you giggling over there. Well, we all giggling. This shit's good though, dude. The ginger hits. The ginger hits. I like that about it. I do, because I'm a huge fan of ginger.
And ginger can be an overpowering
It
flavor,
can be.
but it's mellowed out with the others, which is a
The
great
apple,
combination.
agreed, because the apple kind of cuts it, right?
Yep,
Is
yep.
what I would say. Right over there.
I enjoy it, dude. I really like him. I think the last 2 years, I think we did have a stinker early on of the Golden State.
Stinker.
But another good one. And most ciders, you kind of gotta fuck it up to make a bad cider. Honestly,
That's not true.
I'm an Apple fan. I think you two are Apple fans.
yes.
I think that
I'm
the
from
cider.
the Apple State, bro. Grew up on apples, so we're never not around.
I really wish we could find. I'm gonna have to dig deep into Smith and Forge. I wish we could find them to bring on. That's my first love.
Them and Amberbach. We should do some like lost but not forgotten, right? Is that
I like
the
it,
idea?
dude. I like
Gotta
it.
get some MD 2020. We gotta do a
Oh,
shot.
fuck
shot
no.
of it.
Dude, I was at Ben's one day. I was at Ben's one day, and somebody was buying it.
I know, and you just like you shivered. Did you just send a shiver down your
I
spine?
just giggled because I was like, "Oh my god, they still make that shit."
It's dude. I watched this guy. I was at Lee's. This is a while ago, and he got 2 fucking single shots of like it was Evan Williams, and I was just like, "That's what you call like and just a little bomb. There's just little 99 centers. It's like there's a million of those around here, and you get Evan Williams. Oof.
Yeah, dude. I'd rather drink Evan Williams. I'd rather drink Evan Williams.
That deserves a side eye. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that take and the fact that like I can't drink Jack anymore. It's too fucking sweet.
I can drink Gentleman.
Way too fucking sweet.
It's not the
Mixers
sweet thing.
only.
I don't mind Gentlemen's.
It's that back end.
I don't mind Gentlemen's.
Yeah,
I don't mind Gentlemen's
my
and above.
house.
I don't mind Gentlemen's and above. But old number 7 at this point is not something I'm ever gonna prescribe to.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Dude,
I'll drink it if it's offered to me.
Their single barrel rye. And they have one called a Sinatra. Holy fuck, dude.
They know how to make whiskey.
But just the
old
07.
number 7. Yeah, can't pass. It's too sweet.
It's
too sweet.
It's also that weird back end fucking thing on my throat.
I also drank way too much of that shit when I was younger.
But let's get to the NFL. We've had some games already. Well, we've had some before we get to the
2
games.
games in the book. You want to?
Before we get to the
we
games,
gotta catch up to where we're at.
Mike McCarthy not canned. They parted ways. So Dallas has jumped into
Parted ways.
the coaching carousel thing. I have a prediction to make.
All right.
He said it was wild.
Wow.
On every. Well, no, not that one. This one is maybe not.
Different one.
For the
Less
coaching,
wild.
here's how the hiring cycle is going to end.
All right.
Lay it on me, brother.
The Jets will sign Aaron Glenn. The Jags are going to sign Liam Conan. The Bears are going to sign Mike McCarthy. The Saints are going to sign Brian Flores. The Cowboys are going to sign Kellen Moore. And the Raiders are going to sign Ben Johnson. Might as well put it down, boys. Write the headlines. Those are who your coaches are going to be.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, they could happen.
No, none of that seems unrealistic.
It seems very 100% to me. I feel like I'm feeling the
ZD is putting it in stone, man.
Do you think? I mean,
I'm almost 100%.
Mike McCarthy has done good things with young quarterbacks. It's just the old quarterbacks that seem to be begrudging upon him. I don't know if that's the best pairing in Chicago, especially coming off of what has happened in Dallas.
My first choice if I was there.
I agree, but it's not necessarily, I don't think, the worst either. You know what I mean?
It's not a defensive coach. If you hire a defensive coach, you let your organization down. And the same goes for the Jags. Those two teams
you got to
cannot hire
develop Lawrence.
defensive
You
coaches.
need
unless
somebody for
here's one for the
Lawrence.
Jags I was thinking too. Unless you go Brian Flores, but you have to bring Josh McCown with you to be Trevor Lawrence's coach.
So I also noticed as far as offensive coaches go, you didn't have Brady.
I think he stays for another year. I think he's on the next hiring cycle.
I think I'd take a risk at him.
He's in Buffalo.
I
right?
think I
He's
would
in Buffalo?
prefer him over McCarthy personally.
Maybe, but he also had some.
Given the ascension versus the descension is the conversation right there, right? Like
I think there's that higher upside. Yeah,
I think
he hasn't been a head coach.
The one
but
team that Marcus Freeman could go to though is the Bears.
that would be interesting.
Kevin Warren is supposedly enamored with.
do you think he would jump
Marcus Freeman.
immediately
Has he
to
gotten
the
an
Bears?
interview? Because they gave out so many interviews
I don't think
already.
I don't think they can. I don't think he can get one until after the
after
national
the
championship
Monday. Okay, yeah, because that makes sense.
But I think I'm pretty. I'm. Obviously, I'm pulling for my guys, getting my guy, but
Sure.
I really think that Aaron Glenn. I think I don't know who wants to take the Jets job. So I think it's going to be like that kind of. I think
I
that's
don't
why
think
Aaron.
anybody
that's
wants
That's
to
why
take
Aaron
it.
Glenn will be it because he wants to be the Jets coach.
You think so? You don't think he'd rather be the Saints coach?
I don't think so. I think he came
good
out and
take two,
said.
Trav.
I think he
It's
came
good
out and
take
said
two.
he wanted to be like that would be like his team A.
Really?
Yeah, it would be because that's where he played all those years and stuff. I think that he
Played
would.
some good years in New Orleans too, though.
He
That's
did.
what-
But
that's what Trav said.
yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of a win-win for him either way. Both of them are kind of in a hiring cycle. So, I mean, I guess it really depends. You can say that, and then what if you interview with that team and you just don't align? Yeah, exactly. And the other one, it clicks. That's why if you're in that position, don't narrow your options. Say, I would be happy to sign with any organization that needs my guidance. We'll see where we line up, and I'm gonna fucking build a program, right?
I think at the end of when we come back on pod on Sunday,
a week from now,
I think most of the 6 positions will be filled.
Well, with the Lions going down, I think both of those coaches get hired.
And the Bucks have gone down, so then that coach is now available to do all his in-person meetings. Yep, I think that, and then the Texans go down, so if people want to interview Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator there. I think most 6.
Houston kind of regressed on offense though this year.
Correct. I don't know if he gets another run.
It's not his star isn't as bright as it were.
Correct.
Like
Lillian Conan had taken over that star. He had like an amazing.
Sometimes it's that immediate rise, and you're like, well, I'll do another year, and it's like, no, capture lightning in a bottle if you can, right? Sure. You might fizzle out on the back end taking that head coaching job, but you'll never know if you get another opportunity to even get into the cycle.
That team needs to take a fucking offensive lineman. Jesus Christ, you have to be able to protect C.J. Stroud. Let's jump into those games. Well, we did. Okay, first let's start with the Monday night game. We haven't had to talk to.
Before we get to the games, I'm sorry. I gotta take a minute. Talk about my team some more because I'm selfish like that.
All right, let's go, money. Man. What are we talking about the Niners?
I am so happy that we got rid of our defensive coordinator and our special teams coach. I haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. This is the thing I've been talking about most of the season of changes I wanted to see in getting rid of both of these guys gives me so much more hope already for next season.
Robert Saleh, the next defensive coordinator for the Niners.
And yes, that was the other thing I was going to touch on. They're trying to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator. And I'm not against it.
Why not? It works for both parties.
Look at the Jets this year. You fired him. Look how much worse.
He was never the problem.
Correct. Look how much worse the defense was throughout the rest of the year.
I guess where you put the blame on him is not being able to get the right people to coach up the staff that you have, or the players that you have.
Some guys aren't just head coaches.
Sure,
yeah,
his defense was good.
He's a hell of a defense coach.
But in that case, that makes you the wrong guy for the job, then, right?
Like we're hiring you for defensive coordinator.
I get that too, but
yeah, I think you should hire for a defensive coordinator.
I'm just saying.
I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator.
Clearly. We're arguing the same thing, just in different words. Yes, continue.
Okay. So, yes. I'm not even sure where I was going to go with that other than bringing that up because I wanted to talk 49ers some more.
Well, because you...
I mean,
do you want to talk anything Seahawks before we move on to the games?
No, I don't.
We were talking about coaches. I want to talk coaches for my team.
So here's what we're going to do. We need an offensive coordinator. We were talking about this off pod. I don't know who that's going to be.
Run the fucking ball.
Run the ball.
It's very evident. You get that offensive lineman in the first.
I haven't even heard whispers of who McDonald wants. Like there hasn't been any. I haven't seen anything break yet.
There's no candidate that you're like, we should go after that guy.
Specifically for offensive coordinator, I mean that you obviously there's successful ones around the league, but they wouldn't just sidestep and come to us to be an offensive coordinator.
You're taking either an ex-head coach or you're taking
potentially or like you guys just did with Rob Ryan is dropping down to USC. There you go.
There's another coaching thing that I wanted to talk about. I think that could be really good for USC's defense. Let's go.
Fuck, man. I don't know. Get an OC that runs the ball a little bit more. We need offensive line. We just once again, Kenneth Walker did the most with the littlest. He got a loss of 1 instead of a loss of 4 on a lot of runs.
What about
I
am not against it. You know that.
Steelers OC, because I think he was just on a 1 year. Arthur Smith.
I think they would just sign. Pass. He would run the ball on you.
I mean, he would be that run the ball
for
offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Right? Pass on Arthur Smith.
I actually think I don't think that he's the problem. I think that's a whole different thing. I got to hear it go.
I think
here's a crazy one.
Situation.
Let's go crazy one.
Next year, the starting quarterback and starting receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers will be Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, well.
That's my crazy one, Charlie.
Hold on. Take it back. You have, because we didn't touch on this. You kind of touched on this, but you want your guy for the head coach of the Raiders. You bringing Hendon Hooker over?
Yeah, I sent you that article. That's
Yeah,
happening.
I mean,
that's real life shit. I'm like calling this as wrong.
That's going to be the Raiders quarterback next season.
Him and Aiden are going to battle it out depending on if somebody falls. There's nobody else to go get. Who else are you going to go get?
I mean, that
Unless
would
you
make
go
a
get
lot of
Sam.
sense.
Unless you go get Sam. Sam would be the only other dude. But I think Sam is.
He pumpkined so hard these
let's get
last
into
3
it.
weeks, dude.
If you're not going
He
to a team that
pumpkined
has
so
an
hard.
established quarterback, bringing him makes the most
And
sense.
I feel
But
bad for the dude
do
overall.
too.
I was kind of pulling for him. It was a good reform story, and then it just shit the bed.
He needed to. He did not do well with the pressure. His back foot's got to get in the ground. Ball's got to come out. It didn't happen 2
You have
games
Justin
in a row.
Jefferson. Just look towards 1-8. Just do when
Well,
Kirko
then-
was in trouble, he just looked towards
Well,
him. And Addison, you got 3-2.
Okay, we got to talk about Kurt, too. Fuck.
Well, Kirk Cousins is gonna. Well, he said he's gonna get cut. You can't keep that on.
Cousinsies?
Well, the way I
Right?
hear him being talked about is like this season didn't happen. Like I think seriously,
This
people are
season
talking about.
absolutely happened.
I've heard like the people like for Niner fans like talking about bringing him in and moving up to
broke-
Purdy
he-
if Purdy wants too much. I'm like, Kirk Cousins is not that same quarterback. He is a backup.
You know what he
You
did?
can't bring him in hoping he's going to be your starter. That is a bad idea.
I think Sam.
Bad.
I think Sam Darnold might be the Giants quarterback, and I think that
Back to New York, but different New York.
different New York with Brian Daboll, and I think that Kirk
That fit
Cousins
makes more sense.
Kirk Cousins could be like the Browns like quarterback, where you get that weird
They
deal,
don't have that
Russell
money,
Wilson
though.
deal. But
Well,
you don't
meaning
need the money.
the Falcons still got to pay him, and then the Browns get the lower end
'cause
of
if
the
you-
contract.
He
Sure.
should be making, it should be a lot smaller contract. For
Well,
him.
they guaranteed his first 2 years, so if they do cut him, like Cousins is fine. Cousins is not going to argue being cut.
that's what's
Like,
most like-
if you don't
that's-
want me here, that's
he could
fine.
be a Russell Wilson deal. Like
That-
where you
And that's
get-
what I'm saying. No,
that
because
seems most likely.
exactly.
He's going to get
exactly,
cut,
right.
take a low contract because he's
He
still
gets
getting
to
that
absolutely.
back
He gets that
contract.
guaranteed money from
And
Atlanta.
even talking about that, that's a crazy situation in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, that's why I said it. Who is Russell Wilson went 0-5 in the last 5 games. Like they
Oh, you
weren't-
don't say.
They
Is that what happened?
they aren't that very good at quarterback.
Shit.
So what are you going to do as the
Russell
Steelers?
Wilson? What they don't know. They don't know,
That's
which
a
in
cra-
turn means I don't know.
Kirk
I have
Cousins.
no-
So many
what
di-
are they going to
There
do?
are so many different quarterback situations, and we've gone through how many aren't. There's
The
nothing
Steelers
available.
are kind of fucked. The Steelers are kind of fucked in that sense. They have no quarterback of the future
Right.
at all, unless they are going to invest in Justin Fields, because the quarterback of the future
He
is
said
not
he
Russell
doesn't.
Wilson.
He said he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to have to learn another new system.
I don't
Hey,
blame
well,
him there.
Okay, yeah.
So-
to touch on that real quick, it makes
on that.
most sense for
Touch on that.
Darnold to want to go back to the Vikings and take a low contract, but because he was never their plan A, they drafted McCarthy as the
And he
plan
knew
A.
that
They
too, yeah.
brought in
They weren't supposed
Danny
to go
Dimes to be
fucking
that
14
plan B.
and 3, dude.
Like
They
he's
were
gonna
not
get
supposed
an
to go
offer
14.
somewhere else. He's gonna go somewhere else, but
I think he's
the
a go
offensive
somewhere.
coordinator makes a big difference, I think, on where he ends up.
Brian Daboll,
And
Brian
if he's going to go to the
Callahan.
Steelers, they got to have somebody else as OC.
Right.
If he's going to be their
Correct.
quarterback.
Correct. That's why I think that the Kirk Cousins of the Browns ish. I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. That's like the.
Well,
that's
you
one
said
of those,
you liked Donald to go there, right?
No, I think Darnold to the
The
Giants.
Steelers
okay.
don't know what the Steelers are going to do.
I think Darnold even if Darnold went to like the Titans, maybe the Titans traded out and signed him and then traded out. Like I even think that he'd rather play for Brian Callahan over like you got to have to play for a guy that you have faith in that he's going to
The
keep.
only way that even makes sense, though, is if they really want to develop Levis. And I don't know. After the first couple
No,
seasons,
he's
I
toast.
think that's
They're
been
going.
decided.
They're going Cam Ward or Shador.
And
I think the Browns, that's why-
Levis isn't going to get another
Right,
opportunity
that's
to
what I'm
start,
saying.
at least not in Tennessee.
And that's why I really think the Browns don't sign the quarterback is because of the Watson stuff. And they draft the other one. I really think that's what happens, and then that's why I see Darnold at the Giants. The Giants are the next team that's multiple needy before us.
I mean, it's you. Yeah, I was
Plus,
about to say it depends on
the
who
Giants
gets
need
the
one-
Lions.
The Giants
OC,
absolutely
really.
needs one of everything.
Correct.
The Giants need one of
Because if
everything.
you miss out on Johnson, like then
our-
Darnold becomes a strong possibility.
Yeah, if we miss out on Johnson, yeah. Well, we're not. We're getting Hendon Hooker, Johnson, the
There
whole
you go.
package deal, brother. Send out tweets.
I mean,
send out texts.
So light it up, bro. Let the sphere know.
Yeah,
I did.
I'm not backing that shit. I don't know what's
You
gonna
don't have
happen
to
in the
worry
next
about it,
couple
bro. You
of
don't have
years.
to back
I'm not worried about shit. I'm worried about drafting the right motherfucker at 18 and getting right at the running back position, and hopefully gelling that offensive line that started to mildly come together, but it didn't matter.
I think you got to worry about that quarterback position though.
I
too,
don't
man.
just. It's
You're
unfortunate.
looking second, third round. You got to make a chance. You got to take a chance.
I've been
on
trying.
one of those
I've
guys.
been trying to love me some Geno.
I bet you have.
Yeah, I've been trying. Real hard.
I understand you want to love the guy that's
I
on
do.
your team.
He's a great guy. He's an
I'm
absolutely
cheating.
great guy.
I'm cheating. I love other people.
And accountability is a big thing. So
Hey,
there it
my
is.
guy J.A. playing later today. Oh my God. Oh my God.
He
Give me
ain't
the
going
tingles.
anywhere, you promiscuous
That-
motherfucker.
Give me the tingles, dude. Oh my
Dude,
God.
that game should be good, right? Like that game
Can't
should be
wait
really
for
good.
that.
Yeah.
That is going to be the highlight.
You know what
of
kinda
the weekend.
sucks?
It's got to be. Well, I mean,
okay.
Detroit and Washington was already pretty great.
That this game is being talked about like it's these two dudes' fucking like career. Like, oh my God, it's the most important game for both of them. It's just like
It's the media
not.
takes it so far.
Well, it's because it's right now. It's recency bias. It's the definition of trying to hype up the moment, letting everybody know this is going to be historic, and it is in a way, and it very well might be. But it does not mean that both of these guys, in theory, if they stay healthy, are going to play for several more years.
Okay, but before we get to today's games, we got to take it back to yesterday's.
back,
games.
Trev. Take it back,
Where we were starting to go before it got derailed a bit with all this coaching talk that we were excited to talk about.
Shit. Ramble on, dude. A lot of sidebars this here pod.
Lotta. But that first game, Texans Chiefs.
Texans shot themselves in the foot. Penalties, just not making the right plays at the right
Close
time.
until the fourth.
What the fuck's up with the guy pushing his coach? Dude, just like
Inexperience and frustration, absolute frustration, thinking that you're going to play better. Oh, everybody pissed and moaned about the refs. Everybody said that there was a handful of bad calls throughout
That's
the game.
nothing new, though.
I don't disagree.
And another thing that's not new is the Chiefs pulling out a close game at the end.
they know how to win, dude.
Man, God damn it.
Plain and simple.
We've said it on this pod, and I hate to say it again. Until somebody breaks it, we are in the Mahomes era right now. We live in that pocket, and it sucks. Come on, I'm fine with J.A. getting one. I'm fine with Lamar getting one. Anybody but the fucking Chiefs.
And man, if the Chiefs win the next round, I don't know if I have as much faith in the NFC as the two AFC teams that they might have to.
I actually don't
would
think
agree
that.
with
I actually,
that. I would agree with
if the Chiefs can get, if the Chiefs
the
get
Eagles,
through
man, the Eagles have
division
a fucking
round,
I don't
roster.
think the Chiefs are gonna get through the
next round.
correct. I don't know if
Well, they already got through the division.
No, I mean,
They're in the
I don't.
championship
I know.
round.
I don't think that the way they looked
Championship, that's
yesterday. I don't think they get through the championship round.
So
They're-
okay, so you are saying if they beat, or they already won, so you don't think that they're going to get past either one of these next two teams?
I don't think
Well,
so.
that's what we're saying. If they
Yeah.
do, then they're going to mush the NFC too. I think
It's
I
not a
don't know.
good feeling going into that
no.
Super Bowl. I'll tell you what.
I know who I'm rooting for.
The Commanders all the way. Right?
Go Rams.
No, God damn it! I can't root for the Rams or the
Come on,
Eagles.
Commanders! I'm
God.
pulling for Bobby Wagner, baby.
I'm pulling
That's
for Matty
it.
Stafford and
I'm,
Marshawn
I'm,
McVay.
I'm pulling for
Buka!
B-Wags
Buka!
at this point. That's all I
Jaden
can do.
Daniels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Rookie quarterback
Legit.
doing it.
They
Let's rewrite some history, boys.
Legit.
after this season, I know we haven't talked about quarterback rankings in a long time, but with the
I got him in my top 7.
I'm putting him at 5. Like
Over Herbert?
Yeah, because of the way, just the way that the season,
season,
ended for
1000%.
Herbert, for Stroud. I mean,
The whole season.
Well, I didn't have Stroud. Stroud didn't make.
I think both of those guys are really close to the next guy, though, and I think I like
because Love didn't take the
ahead of
step
those right now.
Love didn't take the step, and Stroud didn't take the step
Nope.
this
That
year.
Green Bay offense was, well, Josh Jacobs was that motor.
Well, then
that was one of the
you
best
know what they
signings
do?
of the offseason.
They're another Devontae Adams. Maybe goes back to they need that
He-
dude to
he
stay
brought
healthy.
that up.
They need that receiver to stay
Adams
healthy.
talked about going
Christian
back to
Watson,
Green
Christian Watson, and my guy Dubs just get hurt too much. They don't have enough
It's
stability.
sad that he
Stability.
just didn't stay with Green Bay, right? Like,
Yeah, he probably
That's
should
that's
have
a
probably
fucking
last.
that's an absolutely historic
Probably
franchise that like you had already played 8 years for. Like
Well, I mean, that's on Green Bay though too.
they also kind of shit on him a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, but like I don't know.
But I already said he's playing for the Steelers next year, so I don't know what you guys talking
Yeah,
about.
right. He put it on wax a little
They
earlier.
could use it too, man.
Oh man, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae in black
Put
and
up
gold.
pretty decent numbers for not being looked upon as those same kind of players.
There's going to be another off season of some serious shakeups though. Like there is no like the NFL has really turned into the what have you done for me lately league. Like I mean the hirings and firings come and go in a blink of an eye
Even
anymore.
more so, it's
Absolutely.
evolved into
Nobody
that.
even gets even 3 years. 3
Unless
years if
you're
you are
Tomlin.
failing back to back. Well, no, because I mean,
Tomlin
I know
is.
in the playoffs he's 11.
Playoffs. I'm talking about playoffs.
At this point, he's 11. What is it? Not 11 and 18.
Or the
'cause that'd be
Bengals
impossible,
too.
'cause he
There's
couldn't
certain
block.
teams that
Well,
just
I know.
hire a coach and stick with them, but most of the teams are the one and done. Unless you're that
One
guy.
and a half, 1.5, 2 years at best, kind of thing. Sometimes
Used to be at least 3. Now you're not getting that. No way.
No, 1.5 is like if you don't start turning it. Well, although the Lions did stick with Campbell through a couple of shit years before he turned it around. I think it depends on the culture. It depends on if the team is buying in and you see steady improvements, then you don't want to break that up, right?
Exactly.
Like if you're not seeing that, that's come on.
Well, before the season
need a
last year,
quarterback.
the
Don't
Lions
turn into
sticking
a
with him,
pumpkin
knocking out
Gino.
the Packers. You saw that growth.
We're signing Ben Jones.
If you get a glimpse of that, you just gotta ride it out.
If you could bet on coach signings, would you go put money on the Raiders signing Ben Johnson? Would you
I'm sure you could
physically
put
do
money
it?
on it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're signing Ben Jones. We're signing Ben Jones.
Well, he had such a great game yesterday.
Hey, he's not the one fumbling and throwing picks, dude. He's just calling the plays.
Okay, putting his players in positions to fumbles and picks.
Sam Laporta was wide
Oh,
open. Goff threw it to the total wrong dude.
And,
Total wrong, dude.
I mean, come on, missing Hutchinson really hurt. Like that
whole
defense.
defense has been hanging on by a
22
sieve.
Look at
guys
all
on
those
the-
points
I know.
scored.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Shout out to Jaden Daniels and that offense. for
That's why
just
the first-
keeping their foot on the gas.
That's
too.
why now when Denver picks, they're taking the very best defensive player on the board. I know a lot of their dudes are hurt, but they still need to take the best defensive player on the board.
What if Warren's there? Tight end.
Well, you have Laporta.
No, for Denver.
Oh, for Denver. Yeah, Denver's definitely. I thought we were talking Lions.
I'm sorry, yeah, no, but you were talking. You brought up Denver, so I took it back there.
I meant Detroit. Sorry, Detroit. All over the place.
little scrambled, a lot of D's. Did.
Okay, so we kind of glossed over the two games. Of course, the first game, the Texans, Chiefs, and then we should probably dive into the Lions, Commanders a little bit more.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think Goff made some bad decisions throwing those picks, but he got fucking rocked on that one. I think that really fucking.
Of course, yeah, and a
set
pick
them
six
back.
never,
And the defense just
and that stupid
fell apart, man.
trick fucking play. Well, they had 3 back-to-back plays that broke them in the fourth quarter between the turnover and then the instant next play on offense was Austin Eckler breaking that 50-yarder.
Eckler, bro.
He had a couple of really key plays. A veteran, I guess, experience. Not so much in the playoffs because he was in the Chargers when they weren't doing good, but like.
Oh, I mean, when have they done good in the playoffs?
But I'm just saying though, like that guy is a great safety valve. Can catch out of the backfield like his life depends on it.
They're in a spot too where now that Brown kid's kind of elite made him himself the number 2.
Kayami,
Depending on
Kayami Brown.
yeah,
depending
he's
on who
really come on at the end of the
depending
season.
on who's there, they could have a
Well,
very
McLaurin,
interesting
Scary
pick at the end
Terry,
of the first.
Scary
That
Terry needs to
offensive
get more
skill
credit.
positions.
Well, because you could look
A+.
you could end up looking at
With Ertz is playing well.
you could end up looking to one of those tight ends fall. Do you get the next tight end
I
in
just,
place, or do you get another receiver? Because McLaurin,
I don't think he
stepped
gives.
up.
I don't think he gets
They
enough
did-
love, dude. I don't think McLaurin gets
McLaurin's
enough
sick.
love. His hands are
Did
nasty.
draft Senate last year
yeah,
at
yeah,
Kansas
that's right.
State.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
So I mean, he's kind of fullback tight end, but
Yeah.
he's a multi-use.
He's multi-use dude.
Multi-purpose.
So I don't know if they really look tight end, but I mean, if Warren's there, it's still an intriguing possibility.
Do we want to jump into keep talking games?
Well, okay, let's do this. Who's going to the championship games?
Oh, it's going to be
Bills.
Yeah,
Obviously.
we got to
Bills.
talk about today's game.
Of course,
Okay.
absolutely.
today.
Eagles, Rams.
This is the first one.
Right.
If the
In the link in Philly.
If the Rams can get any kind of run stop, they have a shot.
Absolutely.
Yes, that defense
big-time
is
shot.
key.
But the Rams' offense needs to score touchdowns and not field
If
goals.
Stafford and Nakua find each other, it's that to me, honestly, like I hate to say this, but that's probably the purest connection outside of like Burrow and Chase right now. Like Darnold and Jefferson.
I mean, anyone
really,
with Jefferson
is
really.
legit, but like it's not like it wasn't as dialed as Jefferson's previous years have been.
Sure,
but like when Nakua and Stafford are clicking, it is terrifying. Nakua is a great route runner, and Matthew Stafford is a wonderful thrower of the football still, especially when he's upright. Like I hate how much I
really
like
good.
that offense.
He
I
looked
hate
really
how
good
much
last
I like
game.
that
Even
offense.
how much pressure the Vikings
Dude,
put on him.
Foot was
in the ground.
Second best against the blitz all season. You need a quarterback who knows how to identify, read, hot route, boom, deliver, and then you got a fucking 6'3" beast out there just running through motherfuckers.
I think if the Rams can't stop the run, the Eagles are going to end up just wearing
Cooper
it down.
Kupp's kind of become a second thought.
has.
When's the last time you heard him have even like 50 yards?
And Higby had a good game.
yeah.
He got hurt.
I know he was 5 for 5 with like 53 or 63
Then
or
he was
some
coughing
shit.
up blood.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks hard. Health, man. It's just sucks.
The Eagles defensive line, man, is a stud, and I think
they can rotate. They got so many different bodies.
Are going to have to find. They don't have to find a great run game, but they're going to have to find something.
Kyron's got to play. Kyron's got to play well.
They're going to have to find something of a run game to keep the fucking people off of Matt's back.
I agree, 1,000%.
Off my guy Stafford.
How many guys you got?
2, Matty Stafford and Josh Allen. You know it.
You have been a Stafford.
Stafford is deceptive. Like, for having McVay as his coach, his offensive numbers aren't not as big as I would think, but he's still in crunch time. He's reliable. He makes those tough throws.
I think they were hurt so much.
Traditionally, he's not going to hurt you, right?
No.
Like he's going to make more or less the right decision. Whether it works or not is different. But
I'm just saying. I think with the 2 receivers that they have in with McVay, I thought his numbers would be a bit.
I think
more
Cooper
inflated.
Kupp has taken a big step back, like Chuck said. I think because I had him on fantasy, I think that they need to be looking for
Another
the
receiver?
next receiver in the draft this year.
how did that happen so swiftly?
I think he got hurt a couple
Injuries.
times. Maybe he's just not as quick.
Just don't recover the
Yeah,
same. That you're older.
And Higby's kind of been
His
only
triple
first came
crown-
back. They've been playing.
He's always been
His
okay
Triple
though. He's
Crown
never
season
been.
was so fucking
They've been
impressive.
playing. They've been playing. I think what the Rams did this year is pretty impressive with how injured they were to start the year, and then with how injured some of the because there was games where they didn't have Puka or Cooper there in the middle of the season.
Sure.
All right.
No, Demarcus Robinson was trying to, carry that fucking wide receiver room. He did a pretty good. Demarcus Robinson got an overtime touchdown in Seattle that changed our fucking season.
Still, the Rams should be looking to draft a wide receiver.
I do too.
How early do they do that? Who falls? Who's there?
Correct. I think
I don't
second round
disagree.
could-
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying they still.
I think in the first round they're taking cornerback. I think they
If
need a
I'm
corner.
Philly, I'm not looking at what happened during the regular season because they smashed them in LA earlier this year, about 6 weeks back or something. Saquon had
That's
220
too early in the
yards.
season
Yeah.
to make that comparison.
AJ Brown,
now.
man, he better get his book out
Well,
because
but
he'll
what-
be in trouble.
I do think the Eagles are going to win that game, but I think
Jalen
the
Hurts,
Rams
look
should
out.
not be taken
number
for
8's
granted.
coming for you, Jared
Versus
Verse.
a bad man.
Look
He's
out.
having himself a
All
year.
those guys are coming for you.
He's
Dude, that
having-
line is so
Colby
sick.
Turner is.
They
that
turned it up
fucking-
last.
I've seen
week
that way
for
too
wild
many
card
times.
game, man.
Dude.
He sacked that homeboy.
You know
3 or
that
4
whole starting
times.
line is only first and second year players.
That's crazy. Yeah, they're really young.
Maybe a third year player. That's it. That's that whole defensive line. Get the fuck out of that way.
Dude,
No,
yeah, we gave
boo.
honorable mentions to Turner the previous year.
We did, and then we gave Jared
And they just
our
built
fucking,
on top of that, man.
Yeah, and with Brandon Frisk, Turner, and then Bryant Young, dude, they are locked and loaded up front.
Sounds terrible.
NFC West, get the fuck out of McVay's way.
Okay, but let's talk about the Ravens and the Bills a little bit more.
Ooh,
We got to get into that.
If the Bills,
that is what we are hoping. That's what we need to be.
I know
to
it
beat
sounds-
the Chiefs.
I know
That's
it sounds,
We need one of those 2 teams, dude.
I know it sounds like whatever the talk is. I think if both defenses got to be able to shut some type of the rundown, otherwise the quarterback is going to have its way.
Sure, but I
On
still
both
expect
sides.
kind of a lot of points. Like, I'm thinking it's a mid-30s game for both
It
of
might
these
be, brother.
offenses. We're talking 30, 35, 37.
I just need my guy to get there.
45-28 last night, right?
I just need my guy to get there, boys.
41-20 something. I can't. It was within 14.
I'm driving the train.
Drive it.
I know you always are.
I'm driving it, and I need him to get there. We got to get that 13 seconds back. We're coming. I'm driving that train, Josh Allen, brother. I'm driving it. We're coming.
45 for the Commanders.
Yeah. Okay. 45-31. So I was close. Yeah.
Yeah, you're close.
But I was. I'm a little bit nervous.
I'm not expecting quite that
Should
many,
be.
but
I'm a little bit nervous.
Because Lamar and Derrick Henry could definitely break that game. It's
what
not to say they will.
But that's what it is.
I know. It's going to be a chess match.
Because we don't know if Zay's playing.
You're far more taking your heart over your head, I would say.
Oh, I think the Bills are playing great football. I think
I think the Bills are playing great football.
I think they got a lot of pieces. I think that
do.
Kincaid's playing good and Shakir's playing good, but then you have all the other pieces that work with Cook.
I think
Ty
Cook's
Johnson
been
has been on fire. Ty Johnson, shout out, brother.
What a great offset, right? Like, because
then
Cook's
Davis,
having his best year.
And then
too.
Davis has been good when he's in. I don't know if he's playing today.
Ray
he still might be
Davis?
hurt. Yeah,
Okay.
Kentucky running back.
That's right. I forgot they had him too. Yeah, it's true.
They've been doing good in the backfield.
that offense is
Yes, it's just
come together.
Now, can you stop? Can your defensive line, your linebacker, stop Derrick Henry without having to try to do other stuff? And then now you give up the big play to Eric Andrews down the seam.
If you can't shut down Henry, they're going to lose that game quick.
Because then Eric Andrews is going down the seam.
Lamar's going to start dicing motherfuckers.
Yes.
Because he can throw. He's just got to set up the run first.
But having Zay out hurts.
It does.
It does. You got Andrews, but he's a little slower. Likely he's a good receiver.
I don't know if we've shouted out on this. Did you know that Bateman had 8 touchdowns this year in the regular season?
He's actually turned out.
I get it. I get it. But I'm just saying, like, he had like 70 touches and like 8 touchdowns. That's a fucking legit season.
A nice second option.
I'll take it versus
in
what
the
we
receiving
thought
game,
was going to happen.
Not the lead, because Henry's still the lead. But as far as being that second guy to like Zay, that's a great second guy to have that he's turned into. And we didn't think he was going to be the way his career started.
In my mock draft, I had them taking Trey Harris, receiver out of Ole Miss, big tall guy.
I think they still should look that direction. I agree with that.
All right, who are we picking? Who are you?
Let's
picking?
go Bills. Let's go Rams. Z's behind
Eagles.
you, my guys.
I'm going Eagles Ravens. I'm going exact opposite. I'm going Bird Gang.
I can't pick the Eagles.
I want the Bills to win that game, but whoever wins that game, they got to be the team that's able to take down Kansas City. I don't care. Really, at that point, they just got to be able to do that.
I'm driving the other.
You do whatever you need to do, Trev.
NFC, I hate them both. I hope they both lose. Fuck the NFC.
Ties across the board.
Let's go, AFC Bills. Let's go. Come on, Josh.
Oh
Bills.
my God.
I love watching you play.
You got to pick the NFC too. Come on.
Do I have to?
Yes, you do. You do.
Yes.
Come on.
Just say the Rams, dude. It just feels so much better in your heart.
Say what you need to say.
I hate
Say
both
what
of
you
those
need to
teams.
say.
I hate them both.
Say what you need to say.
I hate them both, but I think the Rams could do it. I know the Eagles have had the team, but maybe it's just my hang up with Sirianni. I don't know. I just don't like him.
I don't like him, and I don't like the Eagle fans.
Oh, well, I mean, that's easy to not like. Philly is just so, like, they exemplify
They fit together.
The generation of
It's a match made in
instant,
heaven.
like, gratification. If they're not good this week, we hate you.
It's
like,
a match made in
dude,
heaven.
is that a good fan? I don't.
Bro, my week that I spent out there, bro, nobody smiled. There was no
There's
smile.
yeah,
Nobody
no,
smiled.
they don't got
Nobody's
time for
happy.
that. They don't
Nobody's
got time for
happy
that
out
in
there.
the
I
East
found
Coast,
no
man.
happiness.
That's how I felt too when I was out in New York.
The
bro.
free taps on Yingling, I was about that. That provided some happiness. Oh, speaking of happiness, man, do we want to roll in some fandom? Or are we good with what we just finished up on that NFL seg?
Hell yeah.
All right, dude. So we talked about animated shows last week, right? And we started tapping into animated movies, and we had to cut it off because we didn't want to
I
ramble
think
too
there
hard.
is an easy A+ for the animated movies, and
And?
it has to go to DC Universe. They do the amazing job.
If you're into superhero
Live action,
consumption,
not so much.
No, yeah.
no,
Animated, they knock it out
Incredible.
of the park.
Batman,
and
anything
through-
Batman animated is phenomenal.
through
Give me some
years.
Red Hood, baby.
Yeah, dude.
But for 3 years, so you had the Red Hood movie, which was a death in the family.
The killing joke,
Killing Joke.
which,
Killing
but that's
Joke.
mostly focused on the Joker.
That's
But
the
Batman's
Joker,
obviously
right.
in it. Like,
But then you
Batgirl.
have before the new universe, you had Doom, which is which is the play
God, I
off
love
of
that
where
one.
Bruce comes up with a way to stop
the Justice
the
League,
Justice League,
Doom.
and then they steal it and they use it against
Lex
them.
Luthor does. Yeah.
No, Vandal Savage.
Oh shit, my bad.
Vandal Savage steals it and uses it against them and basically almost
That's
take
right.
down the JLA. That's a great one. Another great one. I know Chuck named it last week too. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
Public Enemies!
Dude, those two fucking throw down.
Oh,
and you
they're
see
so
good.
hella villains,
Yeah.
dude. It's fucking
Oh,
legit.
Yeah,
dude.
those classic DC ones. You were the guy who turned me on to those. You're the reason why I pretty much watched those. And like, shout out to HBO Max for having their DC break off. You can
Yep.
watch all of those like today if you want.
Another one before we get to like the new universe.
Okay.
The Super Batman Apocalypse, where Supergirl comes down
Dude,
and then
he
they
fights Darkseid.
Yeah,
Yes, that's a
dude.
fucking great one. Yeah, you're right. Yes,
Dude,
no, there's
that
a lot.
one-
DC does do it right when it comes to the animation.
'Cause then-
they have for a long time.
Then you started with Flashpoint, restarts everything, and then this great storyline comes in. Right? How many of these have you seen? Where Flashpoint restarts it, and then you get Justice League War, Son
War
of
was
Batman,
good.
Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Batman versus Robin, Batman Bad Blood, Justice League versus Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, and then it goes Justice League Dark, and they're all tied to each other because then it all ends with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. You got the death of Superman, the reign of Superman in there, dude. That whole thing
That's
they
your
do
series,
such,
huh?
dude. They roll through them, and I think when you watch them in order, because we and Grayson have done a bunch of those, they do such a good job from movie to movie to like war to.
Right.
The Kings,
Tying
but then
in
have
the universe,
but then having
for
the
sure.
other little ones in between with the dark and stuff.
And as far as like Marvel goes, I think the only animated
soft.
movies that are worth their
Golly, I
salt
don't know
is
if I
the
can-
Spider-Man ones.
Oh my god!
Spider-Man has some good ones.
into the Spider-Verse
Spider-Verse?
and into the multiverse.
You
was
do
where it
have
both fit,
that
or
little
across the multiverse.
You had that little weird one that's more the Ultimates instead of the Avengers. where
I loved the '90s, the TV show.
No,
I
but
know
you
we're
have
going
that
back.
movie,
It's
you
not a
know-
movie, but the '90s Spider-Man TV show. You remember that?
yeah, we talked.
Like,
we hit
yeah.
that one.
Well, I mean,
But I'm
those are
talking
TV shows.
I'm talking
I
the
missed a couple on that too, man.
Right,
I
know, you
like to
always
touch
do.
on
It always
Demon
happens.
Slayer, love you.
There you go.
ahead.
But there was those Avenger movies, but they were more Ultimate Universe when the Hulk's kind of bad. Where the Chitauri attack. Have you seen those
I
ones?
do like the Wolverine verses.
Oh,
when he
yeah.
fights Thor and when he fights the Hulk,
Yeah,
the
those would
Wolverine
be-
verses are pretty
yeah.
cool. But
Anything Wolverine's cool, brother.
sure,
I mean-
he was definitely like my favorite superhero growing up, no doubt.
Pixar's done a pretty good job. Shrek's been a great series.
Dude,
as
you
far
have-
as animated
well, then
movies.
you get all the
those
Disney's.
first ones are fucking
They're
The
hilarious.
first one,
Disney
Mike Myers
movie.
is great. Yeah, the
Any of the
innuendos across those ones are good.
Any of the Disney movies, Toy Stories,
Classics.
Aladdin's. Dude, you
Whoa.
got so much in the Pixar's realm. Monsters, Inc.
It's hilarious, dude.
I mean,
That movie is
Incredibles.
But yeah, well, I'm not
Nightmare
here.
Before Christmas. We got How to Train Your Dragon, which they're coming out with a
Dude,
live
that's
action
gonna be
now.
so sick. Oh, I can't wait for that. I saw that. I'm so stoked. I love How to Train Your Dragon movies.
I thought those were
Love
very
them.
good too.
I'm
like
so
those?
stoked. I love it.
I never saw them.
I think,
Really?
Sorry.
dude, when you see it, you're gonna think that what's the black dragon's name?
God damn it! I just blanked.
You're gonna think he's Bo.
Toothless.
Toothless. You're gonna
Toothless,
think he's Bo.
yeah.
He looks at you all like that, like Bo does. Yeah. I tell you.
Yeah, Bobo, dude, look at me like.
He's
"Oh,
got
come on,
those
love me,
animal
dude."
instincts.
No, dude, my favorite animated movie, without a shadow of a doubt, within this realm is a Goofy movie for
Goofy
sure.
movie.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That's been.
You know what's
legit.
another good animated movie is the Final Fantasy VII animated movie that came out after
If you're
the
a
game.
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
fan,
Advent
you
Children?
enjoy
Yeah, it's
Advent
amazing.
Children
That's
for
awesome.
Sure.
movie.
Amazing.
It's an awesome.
But it doesn't make any sense if you don't
No.
know the lore. You can't, because it doesn't.
not a movie you
it
just
just
can
picks
watch.
up right in the middle of the center of the story.
Yeah.
So you have to know what's going to who these characters are, where they're at. In
I
this
thought it was
city.
at the end of this.
The Advent Children?
Yeah.
No, Advent Children is like no, is before. It's technically after Final Fantasy VII.
Correct.
No, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as far as like the
Talking
original
about the new ones that just
Sephiroth
come out.
chapter.
I didn't
like,
know about the Sephiroth chapter.
God, dude, Final Fantasy VII is my it's my single favorite video game from like top to bottom. I've spent more hours playing that video game across both the original and the remake. I know I'm sidebarring on fandom here, but yeah.
I mean, it's both
Advent
Children and a movie.
but they've also shit on that property too, dude. Final Fantasy doesn't always produce like The Spirit Within. Like that was the first full CGI movie ever produced, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
it didn't. It had nothing to do with any of the games. It was just this standalone story that made no fucking sense.
Or
make no sense.
So there are some bad animated movies.
But yeah, I think DC kills it. Obviously, you get the Pixars, the Disneys that all kill it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good shit out there.
Dude, I'm trying to really draw into the. Well, I mean, there's the South Park, bigger, longer, non-cut. Let's go.
You bring that up, sure. Classic.
Would you wouldn't because it's not technical. It's puppets. Would you do Team America? Would that be like animated? No. What would you call that? That's like
it's not live action.
Purely animated, dude. Movies. Well, there's the Studio Gilby. You know, like I kind of mentioned that when we did anime last week. That's one of the things that's like Princess Mononoke is a great fucking movie. Both of the Vampire D's are technically movies. Those are both really fucking solid. Goodness gracious.
Send us your animated movies that you like.
We need to hear these because there's a grip that we're missing. The Iron Giant. Remember the Iron Giant? No, it's just your favorite movie, Shmee? Okay. Let's see here. Going back in the wheelhouse. Animated movies. You guys got me drinking all these ciders.
Yeah, tell us on Instagram and X.
Oh, dude, Spotify, right?
Buzzsprout.
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube for our continuously beautiful faces.
I mean, get nostalgia real quick.
Let's go.
Roger Rabbit, maybe.
Oh,
are you
that's like
about,
a back and forth though.
Oh yeah, right.
It's in between the live action and the
animated.
That's
sure.
the cross.
I would say 101 Dalmatians. I don't think we shouted that one out. I loved that movie.
I mean,
as a
a
kid.
lot is a classic Disney.
I loved that.
All classic.
I loved that
Disneys.
movie as a kid.
The Aladdins. I mean,
Aladdin 1 is dope as fuck, dude.
All
Still to
Aladdins.
this one. Well, Robin Williams just absolutely holds up, right? Like that guy is hilarious. Speaking of which, I think our next week fandom might be about comedies and comedians.
Hey.
So make sure you come back for Pod 82.